Good morning to most, good afternoon to others, and good evening to our viewing audience across the pond. I am your host, Jason Miles, and welcome to another episode of This is Revolution Podcast. Before we start, if you're new to the channel, please hit like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell since we're constantly adding new shows and cross streams with other channels. We had a great week of shows, starting off with a discussion with Professor Dylan Rodriguez about the history of Philippine independence that YouTube said was too hot for the channel. They told us after a review that we cannot run ads on that show. So once again, struck down by YouTube. I didn't think that show was that controversial, considering the Thursday show we did with good friend of show Bertram Cooper, where we talked about the failures of affirmative action. We also talked about Bertram's many circumcisions, which apparently is just fine. That is a-okay with YouTube, but discussing a genocide in the Philippines, not okay. Before I bring in the gang, I first off want to thank all the subscribers on all the platforms, and of course all the patrons. We had a very fun movie night last night where we watched the 1990 Christian Slater classic Pump Up the Volume, and of course we had my favorite part of movie night, the post-show discussion, which went on for quite some time. If you want to be a part of movie night, if you want to be a part of the live audience for the Pascal Robert Mau Mau Hour, if you would like to have access to the champagne rooms, past and present, there's only one way: become a patron for as little as $3 a month or $30 for the year. It can all be yours. Also today, I want to do something a little different. We actually had some guests planned for today. It was supposed to be a pre-recorded show. I dropped the ball a little bit, so I apologize. I had reached out to an old friend from the hip-hop world that I definitely wanted on the show. We've been talking for a long time about them coming on. He was away recording a record, and then I was supposed to have Justin Hunt, who had said he was waiting, and it's just, I effed up. I'm sorry. But even if they were on, what I didn't want to do was hear what you guys have to say about the topic at hand. So we will be opening up the phone lines very, very quickly, because we want to hear what you have to say. We want to have a group discussion with y'all. So that being said, let me bring in, first of all, she is the faceless voice of reason, and she's the person that puts up with the most shit. Please welcome M. Toussaint.
Hello. Finally, I've gotten the correct title.
The person that puts up with the most.
That's right.
If you were next to me right now, I'd give you a hug. Would that make it better?
Maybe. I want to see the full shirt. Let's see it.
Oh, can you see it? This is two very close friends. One is no longer with us, Biz Marquis, and this is DJ Cool V, his cousin. Nice. And I got to spend some good amount of time with those guys when I worked for a kids TV show called Yo Gabba Gabba, and I miss Biz all the time. He was one of the nicest people, not just in showbiz, but that I've ever come across in my life. One of the funniest cats you'll ever be around. So R.I.P. to Biz Marquis. And also shout out to DJ Cool V. He's still around. He's still DJing. If you guys live in the East Coast, especially in the Jersey area where he is, he's still everywhere. Hip hop is going on. So shout out to these two wonderful individuals right here that every time I would run into them after we toured, it was always like family. So love these dudes. Speaking of another dude that is like family, and it is always a joyous experience as Toussaint has gotten to hang out with this man on multiple occasions too, to the wee hours of the morning. Please welcome Marcus of the Left Flank Vet.
Yo, what's up? And nobody beats the biz. Nobody beats the biz.
Someone says, was I Broby? No, Broby, the person in the costume, there was two women that were short, and the voice of Broby now lives in New Zealand. He is part Maori, and he would call, like, if you're friends with him, he'd call your kid on their birthday as Broby. So he used to, like, when my kid's birthday, he'd call him.
Oh,
those were the nicest people ever, dude. Everybody on that tour, it was the most fun. From the people that drove the trucks to the production people who would all go have like parties in every city. It was fun.
I feel like most people think like people who put on like kids shows and shit are actually like horrible, like drunks and like popping pills and shit like that. You know, like smoking a cigarette in the suit. You know.
Oh, no. So you know, it's funny that you say that. So there's two casts. The show actually ran two casts, right? And so because we did two shows a day, and then there was a VIP after party, so they hired actors to be in like extra suits for the VIP after party. Now those people didn't come from the show, and one young lady was smoking a cigarette in the suit. And the cast went off. The production didn't even have to, like, the tour manager didn't have to get on it. The cast was like, "You do not disrespect the suit. These children deserve better."
I'm on break.
Yeah. This is my time. How dare you?
No. That was also the same girl that got left in Canada and was running down the highway after the bus.
Oh.
Damn. She should have put that cig out earlier.
That was. I've never heard somebody cuss somebody out that hard in my life.
Hey.
Oh my God.
No one disrespects the suit.
No one disrespects the suit. Who do you think you are? She didn't last long, to say the least.
Oh.
No, you do not disrespect the suit. You don't scare kids. No.
Marcus, the people are demanding your co-host.
Oh, Winston? All
Yep.
right, one second. Let's see if I can
rally.
That's how you get the cat.
You gotta shake the tree. You know
the dolphin the West Virginia maiden call.
You know what I want.
You're shaking pill bottles.
Come on, come talk to Samson. I don't know. He'll come. He'll come most over.
Are you wearing a Buckeyes tee?
Yeah, actually, this is you'll appreciate this. This is
Walmart.
No, man, come on. Don't do me like that. This was a specialty limited edition T-shirt handed out at the OSU game day. You know, when game day came to OSU.
Yeah.
It was who I can't even remember who they were playing. I was
USC
drunk. It was a regular season back in like 2006.
Yeah, USC.
Oh, maybe it was.
They opened up the season. Was that the year they opened up the season against SC? And what's the guy that's a backup? He was a backup in Buffalo. Was a quarterback for SC. No. That was Mark Sanchez's junior year, right? Is it before he went in the draft or a year after? And a black dude was quarterback, the one that got the autographs.
Well, so it wasn't Sanchez.
You know who I'm thinking about?
Yeah.
I can't. He was a receiver in the league. He was quarterback for a few years, and he turned to receiver. You know who I'm talking about.
But either way, though. But this shirt, it's Lee Corso putting on like the Buckeye head.
Oh, and the Buckeye helmet. Oh, okay, that's dope.
Yeah. So old school. It's Saturday. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, you were there for that. I was there at the college national championship one year, and that thing is insane. And Tim Tebow is a large man.
Oh yeah. That's where it's like I really wish I would have been able to go to like a Rose Bowl, you know. Yeah, I still can, you know, but like obviously shit's different. But I would have liked to go to a Rose Bowl, you know, when it was, you know, the top of the Big Ten, you know, and but you know, that's all gone now, so
yeah, the road, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It has to be Big Ten, Pac-10.
Yeah. You know, we used to have a country. We used to have a country.
So okay, I want you guys to know. So I picked up my daughter the other day, and I thought I was gonna have like a 3-hour wait crossing the border, and I crossed in like 30 minutes. So I was just chilling in the McDonald's San Ysidro parking lot for 4 hours, and I always get this notification that the left flank vets is on. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, I'm finally awake. Let me watch it. And it's fucking Marcus watching C-SPAN doing a game show where they do a bingo with the callers.
Yeah.
It is by far the funniest thing ever. Watching this black woman keep a straight face as these people say the most insane, unhinged things. And she is just sitting there with the most, I'm just collecting my check look on her face. I love it.
Yeah. Which, you know, if y'all are up, like, because and this is where too, blame Winston. I don't know, his lazy ass is sleeping now. But he wakes me up every day between 5:30 and 6, every single day, without fail. Motherfucker, I'm hungry. Get up. Once I wake up, like, you know, like that Squidward meme where he's like asleep and then like the giant eyes, like that's how I wake up. Like there's no going back. And so I figured I should do something with that time, you know, monopolize that time. And so yeah, every morning 7 to 10 a.m. C-SPAN bingo. It's wild.
C-SPAN bingo is a winner. So I have a winner for you guys. Before we get into any discussion, before we open up the phone lines, I came across this video as I was waiting for you guys to log on. And we can't have this conversation with the rest of the crew because those people have never worked regular jobs, right? Everybody's a professor. They have these high degrees. They spent the most of their years in school. And, you know, so they don't understand the working man's journey if you've ever worked a job in retail. So not callers, you know, people watching the show, raise your hand if you've ever worked in some sort of customer service retail. And if you've ever worked that job in a place where, like a major metropolitan area, because you're going to have to deal with a crazy person probably once or twice a week. If you work in a city like San Francisco, probably right at the end of your shift, the person that you're about to see is going to walk in the door. And you have to stay professional because you don't want to lose your job, because you need your job to pay your shitty car note, to pay your shitty rent, to pay back your shitty student loans, to pay your shitty child support, to pay for your shitty kids' daycare, whatever shitty thing. You have to put up with this bullshit. Tucson is working customer service. Charles' Ghost says, as a call center count. A call center, working at a call center is like punching yourself in the genitals every 45 minutes.
Although part of me thinks it was like also though it's like working for a call center, it's also getting your revenge on those customers that pissed you off at your last job. Let me come to you and bother the fuck out of you. Like,
do you know what I'm doing right now? I don't know, jerking off, you lonely son of a bitch. That was a demographic for this fucking call list.
Yeah. Getting
So
busy. The government's always watching. You got to know that.
I have to. This is when I saw it, I fell out. I sent it to the normal people I send all this ridiculous shit to. You know, TIR, said the TIR crew. And Sid just responded right now. He said, "What the fuck is this?"
Oh God.
Did you watch the video, Toussaint?
I didn't watch it, but for you to make him say that, that man is a connoisseur of what the fuck is this video.
As I'm gonna cue it up. I'm gonna cue it up. Hold on. Give me a second here. Give me.
Oh my
Here, Toussaint. Be entertaining while I go cue this up.
Be entertaining. Do you hear what he makes me do?
Well,
how's your moment, Marcus?
good. I'm just waiting to be entertained.
I mean, I can tell a story. Do I have enough time? I don't know.
I was just fucking with you. Everything is good. Which I mean, it sucks because the writers are changing the narrative. All right, this is what we can talk about. The writers are changing the narrative. We got done with the comedy series of the little submarine that could or couldn't, and now we're going back into war and Wagner Group shit. It's just like I wish the writers could have given us a little bit more time to enjoy the submarine, before we had to get back into the war.
What about the orcas?
Oh yeah, no, like nature's comrade orcas. Let's go.
Yeah.
Which that's what when they were talking about like, oh, we hear some tapping, we hear some tapping. I was like, those are the orcas.
Those are the orcas.
Somehow, yeah, we're still down here. Come,
coming for you.
Come get clapped.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. Are you ready?
No, I already know I'm not ready for this shit.
Yeah.
This is what it's like to work in retail. This to me, if this was San Francisco, I'd be like, yeah. Oh yeah. Every Friday.
Every Friday.
Here it comes. I just got another message. I sent this to Taylor and she just responded right now, Jesus Christ. Can you hear it?
No.
Oh no. Why can't we hear it? How do I fix the volume?
Is that a passport?
Oh, sorry.
The Armenians are down. I'm not worried about Minos. I'm not worried about Russia. Anybody worried about Putin? Because this is his pussy. So, if Judy Union wants to keep playing games, tell Sharif, stay with Sam Slarney. Because all you black men are reneging.
What?
It's called 1.8 million in gold. You want it? Go to Africa. We gave a black beach back. You don't want it? Stay here. Get off our line. It's the whites and the Latins. Anybody got a problem with it? Because I'm Indian too. I'm Vietnamese. This bitch is trying to free the world. So who's gonna sell my iPhone today? Who's gonna sell me the biggest iPhone in this house? Because I got snitched out and I got niggas all up in heat on my house. Chewy's up. Caitlin's done. Her dog is a Great Dane. Is he allowed to shit all over my house? Who is allowed to shit on me? Who shit in the streets of IMT? That snitch, Caitlin. So all these white bitches that think they own something, I'm not afraid. You want a word, nigga? Talk to Offset.
You gotta relax.
Talk to Offset.
You gotta relax. Go ahead on.
The whole story.
Oh my God. Is that a T-Mobile? You just dropping N-bombs with pink backlighting. Like, what is this?
Somebody says Andrew Mulder says, "Oh no, she can't say that." Kushlik says, "Reminds me of a particular call segment on TIR."
She can't say it. You could have fooled me. She said like all broken. Hey, you need to settle down. on the third drop, he's like, "Yo, okay."
Yo, what did she have in her hand?
A passport.
That's why I
said I'm a federal agent.
Unreal. Because we all know who it was. That snitch Caitlyn.
That's just Putin's pussy right here.
Wait a minute. I think we need to break this down a little bit. And look, Sean Moon, you are correct. Schizophrenic breaks, methamphetamine psychosis, that is something that I have had to deal with up close and personal, is not a funny thing. This, though, was kind of funny. We can get into a serious conversation later, but right now, kind of got to get the giggles out. As someone that dealt with this every day, this would have been like casual Friday for us.
Yeah.
It would have been like, oh, she just called us the N-word today and said there's a dog shitting all over.
It was a Great Dane. Who's allowed to shit on her?
When you work retail and you have your T-Mobile fucking polo on, you're now making $19.50 an hour, so you can go to Marshall's and get your khakis. Right, Marcus? You know this life. You just put some 6x9s in your car.
I mean, that's where it's like
explodes.
I had bartended for years. I was like a bouncer, bar back, and like bartended for a few years. And I also worked at a GNC for a little while. And so when this is where like it's like a GNC, and this is where like I feel for cell phone people, because it's like you are retail but also a salesman, so they could fuck you over a little bit more, So you got these like, and like that's where it's like the dick testosterone pills to old dudes. That's how I made my bread at GNC. You get an old guy. Oh, I'm just looking for maybe some diet stuff. No, you need these $100 dick pills, my man. That's what you need.
Somebody said the best part of waking up is a fresh N-word, and
oh my god, just out there with it.
I'm not, dude. I have to give it to the cats working there, because when this happens, again, if you guys relate, just give me an amen with the hand raise. You contemplate, is it worth it? Right? Like, if I go off on this woman that just keeps dropping these N-bombs, is it worth it? I asked myself that numerous times when dealing with shit like this. In a moment of calm, what do they say? He gonna drive home with the stereo off.
She's not.
No.
She dropped like 4 N-bombs.
Yeah.
And what's fucked up is, this is what's fucked up. When you deal with people like this and you try to get mad, they come back with the black dude, and you're like, oh my god.
No.
And he's like,
Great Dane.
Yeah.
He
tries to be like the voice of reason.
Oh my god.
It's like, look, dude, you came in with homegirl. You are not the voice of reason.
What she said, this is Putin's pussy.
Wait. One more again. We have some new viewers here, so one more.
Oh my god.
I was born November 27th, 1973.
Hello, Mom.
I am a federal agent.
That is a passport, ma'am.
God damn.
Right there. I would have lost all of my sense right there.
Too much Criminal Minds.
This is the reason why I have to be here and I can't be in the straight world, because I would have been like, oh, sorry, ma'am. And I just would have went off on a whole tangent about her special agent training.
Yeah.
I would have talked to her like she's Clarice Starling.
Fuck, I gotta find this thing. I still have a card. I have a business card that a dude gave me while I was working at GNC.
Mhm.
He was coming for some special, I don't know, ashwagandha or some shit. But he said he was a Bigfoot, researcher, and like he had a little card. It had like the card had Bigfoot on it. Like this dude gave me a whole spiel because like there was like something going on in Maine where like the Bigfoot convention. And yeah, he was like stopping through. He's like, "Oh, I forgot my supplement. Oh, picking it up. But you should check this out. It's Bigfoot." And I asked that motherfucker every question I
You don't say.
Claim to be a Bigfoot hunter. Oh, yeah.
No, tell me more, please. Yes.
You have a little time,
I'm
sir.
here till 6. Like, let me know.
When the passport would have came out, I'd be like, "Oh, let's get her a chair.
Yeah. Can we get a chair, please?
Make sure the cameras are rolling, everybody, because we want all the managers to know we were working."
Exactly.
Yep.
Thought it was a big sale.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, would you turn away a federal agent?
Yeah. Hey, we didn't know. That's what I would be like. What?
I will never shut down a store. Whoever's in charge is in charge. The Armenians are down. I'm not.
What?
Are they down?
Are they down like down?
Like yeah. Or
the
are they
Armenians
down? Like,
quickly? The call coming from inside the house.
exactly. The Armenians are down. Cool.
Like seriously. I don't know. Dick pills for local Bigfoots.
They need pills too.
Skushlik says this is anti-Anacast-Sparian vibe.
The Armenians are down.
I'm gonna send this to Anna and be like, "Did you know about this?"
What'd y'all do?
Can you imagine a TYT clip of this?
Honestly, they just need it on their soundboard,
Right.
Just to like pull up, the Armenians are down.
The Armenians are dead. I have literal tears right now coming out of my eyes.
Oh no.
Worried about Minos. I'm not worried about Russia. Anybody worried about Putin? Because this is his pussy. So
when people were calling us Putin apologists, that's what we were apologizing for.
Yeah.
We were apologizing for this woman getting out of pocket at random T-Mobiles.
She put the passport on her crotch and just kind of slammed it into her crotch like 2-3 times there.
That's a federal agent's badge.
That's right.
Just doing its official duty.
Damn Armenian industrial.
Industrial complex. The Armenians are down.
Do not bend or subject to heat. Oh no. Oh god.
All I know is that when the phone lines open up in like the next 5 minutes, I think the calls are gonna be fire. That's all I have to say. Fire.
if Junior Unum was playing games, tell Sharif, stay with Sam Slarney. Because all you black men are reneging.
Yeah.
That would have been me. I'm sorry. What?
What did you say? She looking right at him.
She looked right at it. You.
Yeah.
Marcus coming on the show is a reneging also.
Marcus's face when you said that. Wait, what?
You're stupid. You're stupid.
Again, this was like casual Friday at the shelter. This was like, oh, okay, cool. All I have to do today is kill invisible spiders and get called an N-word. I will deal with this every day.
We can make this day. We can make it.
We can make it. 4 more hours left. Come on, guys.
There you are. Yes.
It's called 1.8 million in gold. You want it? Go to Africa. We gave a black beach back. You don't want it? Stay here. Get off our line. It's the whites and the Latins. Anybody got a problem with it? Because I'm Indian too.
Now she sounds like every black person that I grew up with that tried to act like there wasn't a weave.
Because I'm Indian too. That is when you bring in the Jay-Z line, red dot or feather.
Dude.
Oh.
Dude. How many?
Horrible.
How many? With Bert, hey, Thursday, Bert said that when his grandma said, oh, you finna get into college because you Native American. Daddy got them high cheekbones.
Oh my God.
Got the cheekbones you slice bread on.
Oh shit.
I just want you to know that I love you all.
She's nobody's Indian.
She government free the world. So who's gonna sell me my iPhone today?
My favorite part of the whole thing.
This bitch is gonna free the world, so who's gonna sell me a motherfucking iPhone?
Because you know what's funny? All them motherfuckers sold her an iPhone.
Honestly, if she ended it there, I am in her cult. You know what I'm saying? Like if she stops here, like yeah, I'll follow you. That was prime time. That's good shit.
I mean, is she different from like the Hebrew Israelites? Like, it's a black beach in Africa. We gave it back. You didn't want it. You stayed here in America.
You got 1.8 million in gold in Africa. What are you doing here?
Yeah. Point out the lie. Where is she wrong?
Where's the lie?
Are the Armenians up or down? They're down.
They're down. Up or down.
He's gonna sell me my iPhone. She said, I want the biggest iPhone you got.
The house, she said.
M. Toussaint with the facts, says Caleb Green. So a lot of the videos that I see on Instagram are all fake.
Yeah.
Even cops pulling people over videos.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those are fake. It's so hard to get real engagement in this moment, right? You can't just go out with a camera and ask a random person a question because everyone knows they're going to be made fun of on the internet. So much shit is fake. Even a lot of gym videos you see where someone's doing some ridiculous thing on equipment, it's like that stuff's all staged.
Well, I mean, there are people who do crazy shit in gyms. You know what I'm saying? I don't like it. Hey, for one thing, it's not okay. Okay, filming people in public,
that's
like,
fucked up.
We need to get over that. You know, we need to get over that. Like this.
Yes. Dude, I'm so with you on that. That's so ridiculous. Yes.
The gym shit for real. Because like there are people just minding their own business. You know, like literally. You know, like this lady is yelling at people. You know, like but like people in the gym doing whatever kind of freak show circus shit. Like just leave them alone.
It clicked the wrong part. Sorry. Watusi your ass back to Mother Armenia.
Oh my god. Oh, actually, sovereign citizen shit. That shit is usually
That's a whole different ball game.
That's a whole
and you really got to be kind of in the know of sovereign citizen stuff,
right?
And most of the people that want to do this shit for engagement aren't working in the court system like that.
Police academies literally teach about sovereign citizens.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so insane. I dated a woman for a while that worked in the court system, and she would sometimes tell me about the Sov citizen stuff, and she would read me some of the letters they would write to the judges.
Oh my god.
One dude filed for divorce from the state of California.
Oh my god.
All right.
Hell yeah.
And he would end each letter with whatever judge like fucked him up on something was still a cunt. Oh my god, it was some of the most hilarious shit. I was like, dude, we would have the funniest bit in the world if we could read these on air. And, of course, she's a good woman with integrity, so
that's horseshit. That's a fringe flag. We're under admiralty law, which means you have no jurisdiction in the United States.
Janos says, damn, I was hoping Jason would say I dated a sovereign citizen once. Janos, you don't want to know about the past. Closer to dating this woman. No, Sean, stop saying sad things like that. This woman's not going to die soon. You don't know that. That's a really horrible way to view the world. And very, very pessimistic. It's not true. She's probably been up for quite a few days. Because that's what she sounds like. She sounds like she's been up for a few days.
Yeah. Because I mean, like the rest of the thing is like the fact that she's got a dog on a leash, she's got a passport. You know, like there's like
she's been up for a few days.
Yeah,
probably 5.
She'll be all right.
Which is not good. It is not good. But moving on, we actually had an actual topic we were going to talk about today, which was not.
For real?
Don't be sorry, Sean. We're all good. It's all fine. You were here right now. Look, I'm giving you an internet hug. We're all good. I'm all good. I can't look at
comments, man. Comments.
I can't look at this. For those that will be listening to this later, please go back and watch the show with the live chat. These people are on fire today.
Which, can I ask real quick? Because I don't do YouTube. Should I not curse? Is cursing bad for the algorithm?
Dude, Ben Burgess, who does not really curse on air. He's had multiple shows. He runs a show here every Sunday that they told us we couldn't monetize. And it is a philosophy show where the episode they said we couldn't monetize, I think, was the one where he talked about the idea of a multiverse. Yeah. They just don't like us.
What curse word did he say?
He did.
He wants the details.
He didn't. That's the thing. They're like, after a review. I'm like, who effing reviewed it? The shows that they've let us do, Marcus, Finkelstein show.
Still good.
Still good. We ran it twice. Both times. We're like, that's fine.
I've demonetized that show in my head. Like,
yeah, Dylan doesn't swear.
Most nerve-wracking show.
Yeah, Dylan didn't swear. I didn't swear. I don't think.
Well, so yeah. I mean, I guess so though. I shouldn't, try not to, but either way, like YouTube's gonna do what they do.
They're gonna do what they do.
All right.
But yeah.
Is it just the F word, or did that like
debated is making the call? hip hop.
Nobody beats the biz.
I can't even.
Started out in the parks. We used to do it out in the dark.
But no, let's ask a real question. A music that has its roots in disco and Jamaican music, has its roots in a gang truce, has its roots in the inner city as much as it has its roots in newly minted black suburbs. Does this music have the potential to be revolutionary? Is it something we project onto black people? Have the people that deemed themselves revolutionary kind of used that projection as a way to sell records? Can music itself be revolutionary, or is it just a tool maybe in some sort of revolutionary struggle? I ask Toussaint Marcus. I'll take my answer off air.
Don't you run from this conversation. He ran. You
He
see what I
ran
have
off.
to put up with?
Do you want to go or?
You can go ahead. I want to hear what you
All
have to say.
Well, so yeah, at the end of the day, it's none of these things, are inherently revolutionary, right? The only thing that's inherently revolutionary is a revolution. I think that that when you talk about like the history of hip hop, it is radical, and and when I say that, I mean that it often speaks to, represents the roots of a lot of the issues that were happening within the black community. But what do people do with that? And they say, can music be revolutionary? In a short answer, no. But at the end, the more nuanced thing is, or I would say, can music help drive a movement? Can music help bring solidarity? Can music help inspire people? And yes, 100% to all of those things. But then it drives down into well, what is the music saying? And that's the thing where it's the most important thing, because songs like "Which Side Are You On?" There's a lot of the old timey country radical music, and the reason why those songs are seen as radical or revolutionary in some sense is because it was speaking to a broader movement, and the last time I was on a picket line, "Which side are you on?" is still a chant that is relevant today. And so, yeah, it's not necessarily is there a song you can hit play on in front of somebody, and next thing you know, they're like, "I'm a Marxist-Leninist and we need to get rid of capitalism." No. They're it'd be really cool if that was the case,
Yeah.
But I think with anything, right, and this is where recognizing if you want you're professing, wanting, working towards a revolution, is definitely going to have an understanding that this is for human beings, and art and music is an integral part to our lives, and so I guess yes.
Well, I agree with you. Music can definitely be resistance, and it can definitely be protest. You can have protest music. Is it inherently revolutionary? No, I agree with you. Nothing is revolutionary except revolution. But I think resistance music definitely has its place, and hip hop is not necessarily that anymore. I mean, it can be at times, but that's certainly not the trend right now. And I don't think it's inherently resistance music.
I think sonically, music in general can be revolutionary, and I think there was a bit of a sonic revolution when hip hop comes out, and I do think that we look at Black people inherently as like being some sort of revolutionary, kind of like everybody assumes that every Black person in the 70s was a Panther. You know, when I think their dues paying membership was well under 10,000. Like when I think of Public Enemy, and I think of Public Enemy as a young person listening to it, and I'm a fan of the group, right? I've been rocking a Public Enemy shirt on this show for the last 4 years. You know, they're cosplaying. Those weren't real Uzis that the S1Ws had on stage.
No.
They were just dancing around with Uzis. I mean, they're literally dancing with Uzis. Their whole like, you know, Professor Griff is the Minister of Information and all this other stuff. It was a cool production, but it's also somewhat problematic because people see this as like, well, they're serious people. It's like they're entertainers. They're literally dancing with toy guns. That's not what serious people do.
Yeah, you know, and I think about like Dead Prez.
Who I played on a song with Dead Prez.
Oh shit. But yeah, you gotta agree with like realize like kind of like what it was, you know what I'm saying? You know, like especially when you got them playing on major, you know, hip hop outlets and stuff like that. And then largely just like walked away from it because they're like, this is, you know, at this point now we're just the fucking product, right? That's being sold. It's just being bought and sold and not anything like coming through. And like, I mean, that's like the tough part, you know, and like, cause I mean, I agree with what you're saying. It's like this aesthetic that it's been like, just profited off of, right? You know, and like it goes from a revolutionary group, a black radical group.
Yeah.
And then within what, a decade and a half, it's just Afro picks and Africa gold chains and, you know, kente cloth shit, right? And like, we need to think about how that happens. We need, you know, especially like people, you know, like in the Black community, like we need to discuss and figure out like to protect it, right? Because like at that point, if you do have something that is revolutionary, it shouldn't be touched. And not because like you need to protect it, capital won't want to touch it. You know, and that's always like when I do think about Dead Prez, it's like they walk the line just on the wrong side of popularity to the point where they're like, no, we can still take this and throw it out there. And like where, and like, I mean, with I think when you talk about this with grunge, where popularity equals like unseriousness, right? Or popularity equals like you're not actually a part of it anymore. You know, you sold out, even though you just literally sold a lot of CDs. That same type of thing happens, like where, and I don't blame a lot of working class folks, you know, but like once you end up on this other level, well, then you're just a rich person doing this thing, and you're less substantive and all that. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you're making something actual like radical and revolutionary, capital won't want to touch it. You know, there's a reason why none of our shows, even having a critique of capitalism, no one from Kick or fucking, you know, any of these other, you know, like they're coming over to try to, hey, give you, you know, $1 million and stuff like that. Like Daily Wire will pick up people who have a third, a quarter of the audience that you got. They'll throw them hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why? Because like that capital wants to pick up what it wants. And so, yeah, I'd say that's kind of like the marker, you know, if capital can pick it up and sell it, like you're not doing it correctly, you know, that doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's bad music, you know, but
it's interesting because when you look at music from different parts of the world, we did a show about Ethiopia a few years ago, and there was an artist that these young ladies that we were talking to was telling me about before we were doing the show, and I was putting together back when I had kind of the time to do intro clips. And where I didn't get the music, it was very inspirational for them. So, I won't discount the fact that there is something to be said. When I first started this show, it was a music show. When I would interview people, I would always ask them, and if you go to the Bitter Lake SoundCloud, it's all open. I think the first like 25 guests or so, when I was still doing this, I'd ask them to give me their soundtrack to Revolution. Give me, when you're thinking about what Revolution sounds like to you, give me 10, 15 songs. And everybody had these really crazy lists, and nobody's songs ever intersected. I always thought that was kind of cool. So there is something to be said about that. But, let's also stop this rumor that hip hop comes from this working class, poor area. Not necessarily. Sound systems and PAs cost money. Equipment costs money. Recording time costs money. This was not necessarily something that's totally born out of burnt out project tenements. So I don't know where you're getting that narrative. Are you just projecting that onto what you want hip hop to be? Because sadly, it's just not what it is. Do you guys disagree?
No, no, and that's where it's like I would say the impetus, like the birth of hip hop, is a series of instances involving hundreds of thousands of people, and it progressed, and like I'm happy that you mentioned, shout out to my people, like DJ Kool Herc, comes from Jamaica and utilizing something that happens quite a bit when we talk about like the MC. And in Jamaica, it's something that still happens to this fucking day, where it's like the music and the person on the microphone are together, but it's just separately, right? It's like the music is kind of going on, and an MC is, I can't remember what the song. MC means move the crowd. Like obviously it means master ceremonies, but it's like you move the crowd, like you are working in conjunction, with the crowd to, entertain, the collective. But then that ends up getting chopped up into like these 3-minute segments type of thing, but like you've got like the DJ and the beatboxing and like there's like all of these other things that like it was like a black cultural experience that, yeah, like you said, what I'm saying, like as much as it'd be dope, just it's a lot of ingenuity, but like also too, yes, like you need equipment to be able to engineer that equipment to do things like mix and scratch, because I mean, like literally
early days
kid, I can't remember the kid's name. I'm sorry, enough of this, but like there's like some 13-year-old fucking kid that discovered scratching.
Grandmaster Flash?
No.
Tucson, you have to know this. You're from New York.
Do I?
But
yeah, it's part of the education system.
But he was fucking around on his older brother's DJ equipment that was, bought by their parents, and so like my parents probably had, somewhat decent jobs, somewhat worker protection. I mean, it could have been a like postal worker, to be honest with you, what I'm saying, but just enough to like have some shit to be, entertained. And then you got that ingenuity on top of that of saying, let's try and make something different happen, and then like all of these different forms come together to create hip hop. But like, yeah, the idea that it's just like some people were selling drugs and they got bored in between sales and started rhyming with each other, and that's the creation of hip hop. Like that ain't it.
Well, there's a comment here, and I want to get Tucson's take on this. Kami John says Nipsey Hussle was another revolutionary who spoke class analysis through his music. They took him out too. I thought he was shot by a gang member.
Yeah, but who sent the gang member?
The gang?
Joe Biden.
And from
the Robinette.
From what I saw from Nipsey Hussle, I didn't see that much of a class analysis. Maybe you get some borderline black nationalism, but it was a lot of black capitalism.
Black capitalism, which
so that's a lot of. There's a lot of projection.
For some people, that's revolutionary.
And that's what it's like. Nipsey's I love his songs, but like you're right, it's just correct. And what he was more like, if you say what like the spectrum of conservative, liberal, you know, and then left. Like Nipsey Hussle is to the left of Jay-Z or
Oh yeah,
fucking God damn it, I can't even think of this asshole's name now.
Eminem.
Diddy.
Come on.
Diddy.
The guy Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Like Kendrick Lamar is one of these that I got an issue with because
ooh, let's
he
hear it.
talks about modern issues. His actual like opinion analysis is not different than Bill Cosby, and
Mm.
he's really good at rap. Like I don't want to take that away from him. He's insanely good at rapping. He now has the ability to purchase any rights to make the epic songs that no longer can be made by most hip hop artists, but largely he ends up with the pull up your pants black guy. You know, because while like literally I can't even remember the song. It was like, well, it's like, hey, they're killing us in the streets, but we're still killing each other. Well, motherfucker, these are two very different things. And if you're just we're killing people, I don't need to hear your analysis.
He hadn't noticed. They were two different things.
Apparently not.
I don't, as the Jamaicans say, I don't rate him. I don't rate him anymore. Lot of mercy.
Lord of mercy.
Oh, all right. All right. On the third time, we got to shut it down.
I mean, look, I'm friends with Boots Riley. Listen to Boots tell his story about what he wanted to be as a rapper. It's not to take away from anything he's done. He was like, I wanted to be Ice Cube. I thought Ice Cube was dope. I wanted to be kind of a more, conscious Ice Cube. And I think, as we're talking about what Capital doesn't want, Sorry to Bother You was an album that came out years before the movie. And I don't know too many people that know it. He never, I don't know if he even does music anymore. And if he does, I don't know what the audiences look like, but he wasn't playing to the biggest crowds, and this is someone that was down with Pac. I mean, there's a great video. I think it's Mirror in My Pocket and I Practice Looking Hard from E40, and Boots and Pac and all like the Bay Area cats are in it. He was definitely in that circle of people, but he also spent time organizing. Like hip hop wasn't his life. Union organizing has been his life and like still is. He's still out in trying to put together movements, and even through his music, the Mau Mau Rhythm Collective, he was always trying to put together movements that were far beyond just selling records.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, that's where you like, can anything be revolutionary?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's it attached to? Because if it's not attached to the revolution, then no. If it is, then yeah. And that's something where if you ever been to a picket line, there's one thing that makes it or breaks it, and that's music.
Mm-hmm.
If there's music there, like, and that's like literally life, right? You got a little music, it just makes things better. If that music actually amplifies, gets people more charged, more, more inspired, then like, yeah, do that. But like, it always has to be attached to the actual movement in and of itself. It is just music, which, like, I don't want to say just music, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
art is awesome. It's dope. Well, when it's done well, you know what I'm saying? Like, good music is good, period. And that's what I was saying. I was like saying about shit about Kendrick Lamar. I'm speaking to his like specific lyrics, to the message that he's saying. I will listen to any of those fucking songs anytime.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and we got to be able to like, just see that. And now also, not be an asshole, right? And that's somewhere it's like, even critiquing Kendrick Lamar, like, oh, can't we like things? Yeah, you can like things, but when people say, oh, Kendrick Lamar is so revolutionary, that's when I say, no, he's not. No, he is not, right? Like, you can give him all the a love and affection, but know what it is and know what it is not. So
I didn't think he was even sonically revolutionary.
He has different flows. Those are
Okay.
revolutionary. Each
Sure.
one.
It's each.
Look, I
Each
want to hear what
flow.
people have to say.
Yeah,
I want to hear what the people.
Some of his flows are more, Marxist Leninist. I think some of his flows are more, socialism with Chinese characteristics. So he changes it up.
There's some variety in there.
626-873-8658. 626-873-8658. Call in. Don't be punks. You guys know this cost me by the second. We've been on for 17 minutes. That's a lot of seconds. If you enjoy what you're seeing here, please call in. Let us know what you think about music as revolutionary. Let us know what you think about hip hop as revolutionary music. Let us know what you think, or let us hear a story about you working in retail.
That's what I really want. I do want to say, hey, shout out. Someone mentioned Marcel P. Black is a hip hop artist I had the opportunity to speak to, and yeah, dope, real dope artist that is a lot of jazz. He does really a lot of jazz vibe to it. So it's really, really, really dope. But also somebody else mentioned conscious rappers. Right, like the whole that group of conscious rappers and like how they end up, what I'm saying, which is about a bunch of people conscious of the bank accounts.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, and this is just my opinion. Once you do something and put it out into the market to sell it, and if it can be commodified, like let's go back and think about the moment that Black nationalism became kind of the sound du jour in hip hop. And it comes after braggadocio had kind of run its course. Mm-hmm. And styles are starting to change a little bit. And you have this burgeoning consciousness, and it's kind of all over, especially in the culture. You definitely have it in the cinema with the rise of someone like Spike Lee. And it's a very bourgeois project. Mm-hmm. You have to keep that in mind. The rise of Spike Lee doesn't come because Negroes around the country saw She's Gotta Have It and said, we need to elevate this man to superstar status. It was a room full of white people that cheered, where the studio knew, well, maybe we should give this guy some money. So when you have this moment, and then especially with like School Days, and then the music that follows is very, very, what would you say, Afrocentric, Toussaint?
Yeah, there's definitely an Afrocentric tinge to it. They don't talk about Africa that much, but there's an understanding of being of African descent.
And because some of these guys are coming out of, Chuck D will tell you he was part of the breakfast program with the Panthers in the East Coast. So some of these guys are literally coming out of Black nationalism. And in this moment, that's what leftism looks like. Black nationalism is leftism. There's a reason why Pascal and I always joke about some of these books, Stolen Legacy and stuff like that, because we read them back in the day, because that was, if you don't read this, then are you really down?
Yeah, you don't vote. Yeah, if you don't vote for Joe Biden, you ain't black.
You ain't black. Here's some ISIS papers.
Oh, the ISIS papers. Oh, my God.
My cousins used to read all of that.
If you didn't read the ISIS papers, this is before Marcus's time. If you didn't read the ISIS papers, are you even black?
The answer is no.
If you didn't know who Shahrazad is, slapping women, are you even black?
Oh, my God.
Am I lying?
We got some calls.
Toussaint, am I lying?
People want to chime in. No, you're not lying. That's what it was.
Black people in this moment, and I'm not saying this to denigrate all black people, but the call of nationalism was crack was a problem, drugs was a problem, put these Negroes away for 150 years, give them the death penalty if you can.
Mm-hmm.
I will always quote Ishmael Reed in 1991, where he says, for an interview, I think 13-year-olds should get the death penalty for selling crack. I'm not saying everything Ishmael Reed says is garbage, because I don't believe that. I'm sure he might think differently about that quote, or maybe not. But that was the attitude at that time, because we didn't know mass incarceration. So for those people that love the 13th narrative, it just didn't exist at that time.
And that's the thing is like which I'm happy to be on, be on the show, because like some of us like talked about quite often is the amount of black people that Joe Biden listed off to say these are the community leaders that are supporting this. We are doing this for the black community, and he stood on a laundry list of names to do so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got
names that came out of civil rights.
We got to recognize that.
That came out of the civil rights movement. It's just where we were. When I talk about an internalized underclass ideology that we have in this country, that is what I'm speaking to. It didn't go away. Why do you think the calls right now in 2023 in quote unquote liberal cities with large black populations are lock these Negroes up? You guys were too lenient in 2020. That being said, we have some calls. I'm really excited. Callers, just remember, I pay by the second. Toussaint, you want to push one through?
Yes, quickly. There's no time. Quickly.
The call's coming from inside the house. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from?
Cracker from Caden from New York. Cracker from New York, Alpha. But I wanted to basically call in and say, well, with rap and revolution, I think like you've seen, just from my like long listening to rap music, a real drop off in terms of like political rap since the 2000s. And then also in terms of like underlying politics, basically everything stays the same, which I find kind of interesting. Personally, my mom was actually involved with like the CPUSA, like her entire life, basically, and just had a total like drop off of politics and post Obama, really, which I think you can kind of tie to a lot of that stuff within rap.
What do you say about that, Mark?
That's it, really.
The only I've got a little bit of pushback, all right, but I don't want to beat you up too much, Colin. No, the thing I would say is like that political rap, political hip hop, a good, like radical hip hop is happening. It's just that I think across the board with
just not on the same scale.
Yeah, well, and that's where it's like I think that the music or entertainment in general is not on the same scale as far as silos. Like the amount of streaming, the amount of places like you can get, like the ability for people.
I think streaming would make a lot of that stuff easier. Not for sure.
Yeah, well, I was just saying like
it's a fart in the ocean.
No, like I was saying that like there used to be.
Well, that's what it was in the 2000s too. It's just like less.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there's like there used to be a collective experience as far as entertainment goes, and that's happening less and less with the more amounts of entertainment that there is, and so it's kind of like like there. I would say there is quite a bit. They name like Marcel P. Black, Lingua Franca, Napoleon the Legend. Like there's a lot of people who are putting out a lot of music. It's just like there's so many silos, and also there's so many people putting out music. It's harder for people to kind of get on board and say, "Oh yeah, I heard that too," when you probably heard something similar, but it's just not the same thing. But I mean, I do take the point where like, I guess focusing back on that collective thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a big fan of the guy, like a lot of his music, but like the guy is like really, really small relative to like a lot of like Immortal Technique was a thing in the 2000s, and like that guy like was really big. He was really big, and that's not a thing now, really. And just general rap was more political then, and is less so now.
Well,
That was the entire point.
I do want to say, caller, thank you so much for your call.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's the thing. Always like I've kind of completely unplugged from like a lot of like mainstream shit.
Yes.
So it's hard for me to be able to say like, oh, what's hot right now, you know, whatever the hell. Like, but I think like part of the issue is just the amount of movies, music, TV shows. Like we always only used to be able to get one fucking thing. It's Saturday at this time, this TV show's on, you know. But now, like it's
we don't have,
it out,
but that prevents us from having like a mass culture, right? So there was a mass kind of hip hop culture that said, black medallions, red, black, and green, understanding these things was important to us. Whether or not they were nationalists, that's not the point, but there was a mass culture. But to your point about everything being siloed, especially in the streaming world, if you look at the top people on Spotify, you know, and who has 1 million plus followers, it's kind of fascinating to me when they were reading off the names.
Because you never heard of these people before.
Some people I'd never heard of.
Never
Some
heard
people
of
have been around for years. Like, you know, I think the number one guy is Ed Sheeran, but Ed Sheeran's been around for some time. Yeah. So there is no like flash in the pans. And Ed Sheeran tours extensively. So you still have to go out in public and meet people. You can't just, you know, make a thing online, and there's no like big time AI streaming, you know. What's the other guy's name? The little
Bruno
pretty
Mars?
boy. Bruno Mars is still one of the biggest. I think he's in the top 5. You know, Taylor Swift. You know, these are people. Beyonce. That still tour and sell out arenas. You know what I mean? And I think even people in this space, in this streaming space, found that out when they try to do live events, and like you know, 20 people show up.
Yeah.
You know, you're not as big as you think you are because you have a lot of clicks. Like there's tons of bands that I played with when we'd see them, their social media, because they were getting booked at places, right? And you'd be like, oh, dude, this band has like 100,000, you know, likes or whatever. And you go play and like 4 people are there.
Yeah.
You know, those things don't translate into following, because liking something is so passive. And music just becomes kind of the ubiquitous soundtrack to your life. And because it's so ubiquitous, it changes the way in which we listen to music and digest it. There was a time when we talk about house music, these singers and these songs had dynamics. When you listen to dance music right now, it's overly processed vocals that are so highly compressed. Sometimes I think it's the producer sitting there pitching his voice up, or her voice up, and singing into a microphone like this.
Producer knows what the producer needs. I'm gonna relay that to someone else.
Well, every like a lot of stuff has changed when you listen to like pop music in various genres. A lot of it's all in the same key, and you don't really have songs that are taking you there, just because of the way people are engaging in it. It's just so passive. Even working at massive festivals like Coachella, there's 120, 130,000 people there a day, but you're not seeing 100,000 people at the end of the night for the main stage act. Beyonce was the only person there that you probably saw a good amount of that 121,000 that was there a day.
Or even the amount of people who rotate in and out.
Yeah.
Right. Because like, and that's the thing where it's like, I remember going to concerts, you know, like I'm not a big festival guy, you know. Yeah. The idea that many fucking people like out in the wilderness and shit, you know,
it's not
like,
fun.
No,
it's not fun. It's not fun to use a porta potty.
But
at 3 p.m.,
which is kind of interesting because like Columbus will line you up some interesting groups. You know, like the Columbus market is like pretty interesting because like it is a city, so obviously got a black population, but it's like you're in Ohio, so a lot of white. So it's like perfect when Eminem and is and Dr. Dre and like that is Columbus ready to go. It's a little bit more interesting when you're seeing like Snoop Dogg, the Wailers, whoever's left, and 311.
All right.
Wow.
which
Snoop Lion.
they said, who smokes weed in Columbus?
And I bet people showed up though.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, I thought it was a great fucking show, but the rotation of the mob, it was more like a dance with all the cliques or whatever, and like they just rotate through for who they actually wanted to see. But like that type of the dynamic is, I think, a lot more now where people are going for their one specific thing. I listen to experimental noise, trash can grunge, and that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. That's what I miss about, I talk about this with metal, and you can say this for hip hop. There's a moment, like Biz used to show me these pictures of him. There's one picture of him, Will Smith, and Eazy-E. And I said, how the fuck are you three together? He goes, we were all on tour.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
That's just what it was. And you're going to be exposed to a lot of different stuff, and you can't necessarily get siloed off. When you dug hip hop, there were people that dug, like where I'm from in the Bay Area, like the most Bay cats around. But they also dug people like Del the Funky Homo Sapien, and we all dug like hieroglyphics, because it's just they all played in the same places. We all lived in the same area. We hung out at the same spots, and I kind of miss those days when stuff wasn't as siloed off. But I digress. Toussaint, we have another call to get through.
We do. Thank you for digressing on your own. I didn't have to take out the Billy Club or anything.
If you mention the Billy Club, the threat is kind of still there. Just
like any good black boy.
Still make the threat with the praise. Classic black woman.
Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? And do you have a Billy Club?
I'm Mike from Mobile. And I don't know. I probably have one around here somewhere. I know I have a bowl lit.
Jesus.
Oh shit! Uh-oh.
Right, it's a serious call.
Kink. All right.
I'm frightened now.
Oh, no need to be frightened. I'm a friendly guy down here. I actually was one of your first callers. It's nice to talk to Marcus again. I called in. I don't know if he and Stefan were on there.
Oh wow, that was a long time ago. That was a few years ago.
And yeah, it was a long time ago. I've been watching you guys for a while. Love the shows that you do.
Thank you.
I have a lot of disagreements politically with you guys, but always love to hear you talk about music. I personally, I come from the punk and metal scene, more so. So there's always, everybody has to be political, and, what you guys were just talking about, everything getting siloed off, and how different it was even just 15, 20 years ago, just even in terms of genres and stuff is really making sense for me. But yeah, I'm just kind of rambling here, but just wanted to let you guys know that you're doing a great job. Love listening to the show, and thanks for talking about all kinds of different music and stuff.
Oh, right on. Thank you very much. And thank you for listening. And Mike, I'm going to keep talking about punk and metal and hip hop and country and everything else. And you know what? If people aren't disagreeing with you, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. And the thing that is and I'm sure, and actually, I tell me, literally when, me and Karthik interviewed you, I specifically asked this question to you, Jason, is because of you've got these genres and you've got these areas where people are supposed to be or not be, right? And especially, yeah, it's like as I'm 80s baby, so like late 90s, mid late 90s, early 2000s shit is like that's like my shit, right? But it's almost unacceptable for black people to enjoy any other genre of music other than hip hop, right? Socially, it's like you
Mhm.
got you got hip hop and R&B, and like that's for black people,
Mhm.
right? And you got punk for young white kids, you got country for the rural white people, got Mariah Carey, like this it's like everybody's supposed to this type of thing, but like you make metal music
Yep.
and like that's kind of like, oh well, what? But like if you actually understand music, where it comes from, like
But
these
can
are black, and, in a
can I
lot of
say
ways,
something
yeah.
to that? And I've
Yeah.
been getting really angry lately about some of the things I've been seeing where these black people talk about histories of more aggressive music that actually have their roots in kind of white suburban culture, and they try to bring it back to some sort of like, well, all of the roots are in blues and the guitar is African, ergo all this music is black. And my problem with that is anything I'm going to do is going to be quote unquote black.
Yeah.
And I may be a fan of stuff that isn't, right? Like I'm a fan of 80s thrash metal, which is white dudes from suburban environments, reinterpretation of British dudes listening to black dudes through British sensibilities, right? So you can take it all the way back and say, I guess that's kind of black music. But at that point, I have to make that feel that way so I can feel comfortable. I feel very comfortable. People should feel comfortable about liking what they like. If you are a black person that plays classical music, it doesn't have to be African for you to play that music. Culture is to be shared.
And that's to the point though, right? Is that and where I do see like it's not just like an aesthetic thing, right? Is that when I hear Chuck Berry, I actually hear more of Chuck Berry in like the thrash metal than I do in what's considered rock and roll, which is like kind of like the genre like was coined after him, right? And it's that riff of like instead of right, like it's an adjustment, but I still hear that tone and like at least the phonic quality that he made popular. But like you were saying, is the point, right? Is that this is human art, and I don't even say fuck humans, right? This is art. Sometimes you play music and you'll see a horse doing bopping his head or some shit, but like that is the point, is like there's a lot of conflation as to where something belongs, who it belongs to, and it distorts, distorts the roots. It distorts, the historical sense, but like you said too, where it's like, if you're a black person doing a thing, that thing you're doing is then, it's black now. Like you're doing it. Hey, dog, you made it.
Look, check this out.
It's like you're not just a black astronaut. You're an astronaut. You're doing the astronaut shit.
I have some bad news for people. A lot of music that people may think is black music was written by not black people. Some music that you hear, white people were telling black people that wrote the music, can you sing it a little more black?
Yeah. You don't want to know how many Swedish people that are behind some of your faves,
some of your favorite songs. So look, don't try to essentialize music. If you are a black person and you like punk or metal and your parents think you're weird, it's just, look, those parents are dying out. Your parents are going to be me soon, and we're not going to give a damn. We're going to be like, that's not heavy enough. That's a sorry ass riff, son. What are you doing? Don't bring these weak riffs in this house.
Don't bring those weak riffs. Well, I like the part where you said you can like what you like. Happy Pride, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. I really, there's a guy on the internet and he makes these horrible videos, and people that watch this show send them to me. and they go, hey, you should have this guy on the show. And then I'll watch. I'm like, why? This sucks. And he made this whole stupid video about how the history of punk music is black. And I'm like, look, you can go back and say the guys that really formed hardcore, that first wave of it, the Bad Brains, had a lot to do with that. But they really pivoted in the mid 80s to being a reggae band. And they haven't really came back to their hard rocking, roots since. And the genre has just gone in a whole different direction from where they had kind of brought it in the early 80s, late 70s. I give the Bad Brains all the props. I'm a massive fan. HR to me is one of the best frontman in any genre of music, but to sit here and say like, oh, well, this never would have happened, but if it wasn't for these people, it's like, I think you must be insecure about your love for this music, and you need it to be black for you to feel comfortable liking it, which is sad, which is really sad.
And that's because like that's the thing, as I'm gonna quote a famous white scientist, Dr. Malcolm, but life finds a way, like if it wouldn't have been DJ Kool Herc, it would have been somebody else.
Yeah.
Life finds a way.
Well, moving on, Toussaint, who do we have?
Life is finding a way to our next caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Hi. What's your name? Where you calling
KD from Maine, but currently in New York. Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Great discussion. Just wanted to maybe add a couple comments to see what the crew thinks about this idea. But regarding hip hop as revolutionary, or music as revolutionary, or music as political, maybe it doesn't even need to be overtly political. I heard a quote once of an artist, excuse me, who said, music in itself can be just political because it can have the capacity to just change how people think, how they process things, and just that kind of mental action in itself, form of consciousness, who knows what you want to call it, that can be a political kind of movement internally. And that always kind of stuck with me. And then that made me think, well, maybe the music that is overtly political, I don't know, maybe it's maybe kind of counterproductive. I haven't really resolved that yet. But and also regarding the nature of like hip hop becoming very political, maybe around the mid to late 80s, do you guys think maybe this was kind of by accident? Because it seems like in the sphere that we live in, this wouldn't be allowed to happen. First thing that comes to mind is Public Enemy, to be honest. And there's always this kind of moments in history with popular culture or whatnot, where sometimes it seems like, how did this become a thing? Like, how did something like this that seems to be so out of the ordinary in terms of what's considered ordinary in popular culture, like, how did this get in? I think Public Enemy is kind of a group like that, and a totally unrelated group, but a band like Primus, it's like, how the hell did those guys get so popular, even though they're not like uber mainstream, but they're just very odd, and they got pretty popular at the time. So yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts. Is music in itself, like art, just political on its own, allowing people to just, if they can change their mind while taking this in, even though it's not overtly political, is that within itself is political action? And then do these accidents that I mentioned, were those accidents, or was there something else coming along that was more organic? I don't know. Just wondering your thoughts. Thanks for the call. Big fan. Take care.
Oh, thank you so much. And I want to say this before we even answer this question, before we get to your comment. Thank you, everybody that's called. Thank you, everybody that watches the show. If you haven't done it, hit like. Please hit subscribe. If you're listening to this on the audio only, definitely subscribe. Leave a review. It means a lot. I'm constantly shocked that this thing that I started 4 years ago in my studio is ranked on Apple Podcasts. We're like in the top 20, right? Tucson. That's so crazy.
That is nuts.
As a music commentary show. So
Yeah. We're leaning into it this month.
A musician is doing some commentary. It's not
Mhm.
that is the
completely
description
wrong.
of the show, right? Show about politics and music by musicians that sing about politics.
Yeah.
That was the original tagline. And Primus, I actually used to have a room across from Todd Huth, who's the original guitar player of Primus. And he told me some very interesting stories about the early days of that band.
I know, and I think with the caller's first point too about, I think a little bit more like the ambiguity of the, you know, of can music be revolutionary? And I agree, like 100%. You know, and that's like the you know, I guess like conundrum, you know, or some shit like that, right? It's like where it could be, it's like a very individual thing, right? It's like, you know, like a person's interpretation of art is necessarily individual. Nobody looks at this, watches the same thing, and has the exact same opinions. You know, the emotions and the feelings that somebody could get from anything. You know, like that's what's important. You know, and so yeah, you know, and like that's where it's like I don't want to piss anybody off, but like I legitimately do. I'm not a big fan of Primus. I do think that they suck, but I love what they are. I love that people enjoy the music and appreciate it. You know, like hell yeah, have fun. You know, but that's the thing, right? It's like it can be more than music, because that's actually like, and like someone was saying like Primus sucks, which I learned just recently learned that people who love Primus say Primus sucks. And so there's a culture with the fans of Primus that is pretty different than a lot of other musicians. And that culture in and of itself of saying, oh well, Primus sucks, like ties into a counterculture that ties into I think be, you know, anti-capitalist, you know, type of things, where the thing that's shoved in your face is bullshit, is kind of like the underlying message and all that type of shit. But
Primus
yeah, I
is
agree.
kind of like they're kind of like the movie we watched last night, right? Where it's so countercultural that's kind of all it really is, right?
Yeah.
Like I have friends that play in offshoot bands with Les Claypool, and they play in places like Marin County. And it's not to like shit on these people. They're still very close friends and have done amazing things to help me out. You know, Brian Kehoe, for whatever reason, took a liking to my band, LaFin, me and my ex. And Primus, speak of the devil, had left these strings that I had never seen before. The gauge was so large. And I wanted to get more of them. And I went to Kehoe. I was like, can I get more of the Primus strings you left? And he was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I said, well, they're this size. He goes, let me know when you go for tour and I'll leave you a box. And I thought he was going to give me like a few. And he left me they handmade strings for me.
Jesus.
And left me 2 boxes, enough to get us through this. I think we were doing like a 3-month run at the time. And he did that a few times for me when I needed it. So, you know, I have the utmost respect for some of those dudes, because they really do respect people that are trying to forge new ground musically. And I think when we talk about revolutionary sonically and like physically revolutionary, I think those two things are so different. And I know there's people, you know, Kush Look is talking about Pinochet's reign, and you can also talk about the Soviet Union and their pushback on punk music. I will be a part of Alexander Herbert's project. He went to Tbilisi, Georgia, and Tbilisi, and interviewed people about the burgeoning punk scene there, and also interviewed people from in France about the original punk scene that was, for the most part, outlawed in the Soviet Union. And I'll be putting together that video with him that we're going to release. We don't know where yet, But
Really, on Twitter, I heard that shit's hot now.
I heard that too. Honestly.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah, don't do it.
but it's I don't know if that moment exists anymore because people are so siloed.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
which
it's so easy to give somebody a check.
Yeah.
And then it's over.
And I mean, I'm going to pull some of the stuff that we were talking about earlier back into now, with these campaigns. You know, it's like, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think like organizing around the electoral cycle is almost necessary at this point, due to the fact that every other medium is so siloed.
Interesting.
Because like it's really the only, at least it's the only time in like I can see in the modern day in which case you are, you know, having people operate, you know, on from different, you know, like different politics in the same venue. And when I say like the same venue, I'm talking about the year and a half of people yelling at each other over minor differences in policy. But yeah, like, you know, that's where if you can take, you know, someone like Cornel West and not say, is this one thing inherently revolutionary? Is this one campaign going to change the world forever for the best? No, the answer is never. It will never fucking happen, right? Like, but can this be a tool to push farther? You know, that's and like I think when we talk about art, music, you know, like thinking of it that sense of like, how can this be used, or is it doing it naturally, right? Is the artist so dope that this is what inspires out of people, you know, those yeah, you know, like that's the type of thing, right? But like the fact that the media itself is so siloed that there's I think there needs to be some other, like the other social dynamic or like other social event to organize around. And like I mean, it sucks because it's electoral politics, but like, I mean, it could be the Olympics, you know, but
Toussaint, you want to read that super chat?
Yes, I do. From Deshaun, too nice. Hip hop is about as revolutionary as Democrats are.
Shots.
Boyaka.
Fired. I agree.
At this point, absolutely.
That is pretty funny there, Deshaun. Toussaint, I'm going to push the next call through. I have to step away for a moment.
All right.
Okay.
You're pushing him through?
Wait a minute. I'm going to do this.
Okay.
So, as you young people say, you can't see me.
God.
What's up?
Did you push him through?
Pushed him through.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? And are you siloed? Did you push him through? I don't think he did.
I don't know. I can't.
Let's see. All
Hello?
right.
Have I pushed through? Is this what's happening?
You did get pushed through. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And are you siloed?
Oh, wonderful. This is Jose from San Diego. Yeah. So, just calling in to call in, get the most out of these seconds and then switches and things. So, in any case, I thought I think it's interesting that like there's a pretty broad consensus like in the chat, in the discussion that it's not like music by itself can necessarily be revolutionary, but also there's a kind of the question kind of came up in passing, like, well, what is, say, someone like Kendrick Lamar necessarily doing that's all that innovative? And I think that's a kind of an interesting question in terms of like, well, then what is like revolutionary, quote unquote, in terms of form, in arts, and I don't think there's like an easy and kind of glib like one sentence answer you can give to that, but I think it kind of goes to the point that we're talking about, that we're also kind of pretty siloed and everything. And there is something about the political economy behind how music is made
that kind of puts us at sort of this impasse that we're going through, where you know all these songs, a lot of the music that's being made, a lot of art that's being produced is so you know that you know gets passed through to us is so I don't know what the best word for it is, but it has a definite polish to it, you know, that kind of precludes the kind of you know more interesting things from being made. And I think that's something that like can only have a political and economic question. Sorry, a political and economic resolution to it. At the end of the day, like there's nothing going to be from inside the arts that can you know address that. It's not even going to be something like, hey, maybe like artists can get a few cents more per stream or something like that. Like I don't think that would fundamentally address like the core issue here. I think at the end of it all, like to the extent that we do see that sort of impasse in the arts and culture, I think that's inevitably you can't really get past dealing with the economics behind all of it. So I wonder, you know, what that means nowadays, because it's not like interesting music isn't being made. I know it's just that it's so hard to find it because like there's this just giant surge of content that's being produced nowadays. And again, a lot of it, going to what was said earlier, it has to do with like the lowered price point for actually starting to make music and things like that. But again, it makes it all the more difficult to actually kind of stand out above everybody else. And and the relationship between that, I'm sorry if I'm rambling here, but just want to try to wrap it up as fast as I can, you know, that relationship between like politics and revolutionary form isn't ever like a neat and tidy one either, because like you can have plenty of you know, throughout history we've had like plenty of like reactionary political thought that nevertheless can produce lots of interesting and innovative art. You know, it could be Stravinsky, that can be like the futurist, like a very kind of linked to fascism, but just the same, you know, like they're producing or helped contribute to like a ferment that produced a real richness in arts and culture. And so I think that relationship between revolutionary form and arts and the actual the content of it, so to speak, is never like an easy or direct one. And it's not like people with shitty politics can't make good art. And you know, I'm saying things that probably aren't that controversial at this point, but yeah, I just want to say that. Yeah.
No, you said something very, very controversial, and that was people with shitty politics don't make or can make good art. I reject that claim.
Is that right?
I reject that claim. Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, plays in a jazz band, and he sucks ass. So no, I agree. You know that, and that's where it's like yeah. And then where like going back to it's like art, music. You know, these things speak to us as human beings. You know, like it is deeper than politics. So it can come in and out. You know, it can mean different things for different people. And also, yeah, like you know, it's not going to be Anthony Blinken, but people with shitty politics can make really, really dope music, you know? And I mean, hell, like I still listen to a lot of hip hop songs that I listened to back in like 2000. Okay. So
I still listen to X Clan.
I hear you.
The East, my brother, to the East,
to the
my
East, my
brother.
brother. Caller, thank you so much for the call.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think, you know, when he said the comment about so much new music is released, how can you hear new artists? That's where the whole like Spotify story that I was really hoping would be bigger. And I get a little upset when we talk about streaming. It always goes back to like how little money people are actually getting. You know, before there was streaming, the only way you could be heard by people is if they went and saw you perform, or if someone got a hold of your music. And so with streaming, it's like my music is out there. I can put a post up on social media and you can hear it if you didn't go to a show, which is something I didn't have the ability to do, you know, before streaming services were around. And a lot of artists that get, you know, maybe even hundreds of thousands, if not maybe million plays on streaming services had no way for people to hear them. Maybe those people would have bought their record, maybe they wouldn't have, but I've never really been with the complaining about streaming revenue. I don't really get as much as I used to get when I was touring, as far as payouts, and I don't even bother anymore filing for my payouts. I think my ex gets them now, and I don't even know how much money that she gets from that. But don't weep for some artists that's crying about how much they're not getting from streaming services, especially people like Taylor Swift, that is making hundreds of millions of dollars with live shows, was smart enough to remaster a record so she could have ownership of it and get all of that revenue opposed to just small portions of it. She's still one of the largest live shows and doesn't even have to play that much touring wise to make that much money. The people that are complaining about this are people that actually used to make millions of dollars through radio plays, and that's gone now because of the agreements that the publishing houses and record labels made with streaming services. So that's just rich people crying about, I can't just sit at home and release a record, have it get played on the radio a gajillion times in various markets, maybe play a few festivals here and there and live my lifestyle. Now I have to do things I didn't want to do, like meet and greets. You want to hear artists bitch? Be behind the velvet rope and hear these guys whine about meet and greets.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I guess I'd ask you. And so when you're saying, this is largely just the Richie Riches, complaining,
and smaller people trying to catch a hold of that complaint because people love talking about it.
Like, do you think though that the all like, I guess with the reality that we have so many siloed different things is also meaning that stream, that ability, and that's where it's like 10 years ago, if I wanted to start a show or whatever the fuck, like I would know what to do, like it would be so much harder to be able to like have something to like, broadcast out.
Yeah.
And even all the equipment utilized is, so much more available because creating content, is a thing now. But I know I'm wondering if you think that the inverse, right? Of like where now, hey, this gives me the opportunity, and if I am funny and smart enough, I'm going to make it. And people have the ability to say, well, I don't want to watch the morning news. I want to watch C-SPAN Bingo. And you can't do that because of these services and stuff like that. So it's like, do you think there's an inverse where it actually does give a little bit more of a chance for a little guy to make it big? Or do you think that's all?
No, I'll give you a perfect example. There's an album that I listened to. It's about 13 years old or so, by an offshoot of the Deftones, one of Chino's bands, called Team Sleep. And I usually put my Spotify on, and I have my guest room / office, and I cut video in there. And I was cutting video, and the record finished, and I've listened to this record on Spotify too many times to count. And when it was done, a band came on that I had never heard of before. It was so good, I ran in the room to see who it was. I was like, uh-oh, did we lose a call?
Us, the last person we were talking to, I think.
Oh, somebody hung up.
Oh, we didn't.
Uh-oh, we have to get back in the system. But I ran back in the room to see who it was, and it was this band called Loathe, and they just kept showing up in my discovery. And I found out through reading that article, and there was a few more articles about Spotify, that discovery is just a pay-to-play system ultimately, right? And Bitter Lake isn't going to show up randomly in discovery.
It's another version of like the Billboard Top 100, right?
Yes. And you may think you're discovering something new, but a label has paid for you to hear this, right? And that's not organic, and it's kind of sad, but you have to have a little bit of money to get discovered. So it's not as simple as just, you made a song, a bunch of people heard it, and the rest is history. Like, for you to discover my group, you'd have to sit for hours, and you probably will never hear it because there is no magical algorithm. Pandora actually is more of an actual algorithm that's designed for, okay, this song has this many beats in this pattern, therefore you might like this. Spotify is just, oh, you like Corn, you probably like Limp Bizkit. That's all that is, right?
Done.
You like Corn? Here's more Corn. We saw you play that song. We're going to play it for you again. So your discovery, you're not really going to discover too much new music. So even the streaming services that were built upon, they're literally built on poor guys like us, because I can't just submit my song to Spotify. I have to go pay for a distribution site. It doesn't cost that much money, and they'll put it up. But I think it's like 100,000 hours of music is downloaded or put on there a day. You're never going to discover it all. And people that have the entryway to be able to pay a lot of money for discovery, you're going to get hurt a lot more. So
yeah, no, and that's, I mean, and that's like, yeah. How do you get past that? Who knows? Yeah, do we got another caller? Or
we do. I want to read this comment first. Timothy Connerson says Kendrick is putting thought into his songs, and rappers haven't done that for so long. So it makes him seem revolutionary. People use hip hop as an ATM.
I mean, you could say, I think, like, to the last part, I'd say like any people could use any medium as an ATM. You know,
Yeah.
of like we could say it's like, it is, you know, disappointing that hip hop hasn't caused the revolution, or, you know, you say maybe, you know, we shouldn't have expected it to. But no, I mean, that's where it's like Kendrick is really good at rapping. The versatility in his flow, I think, is, you know, exceptional. But almost everything else built around that, I think, is kind of bullshit.
Dusty's talking about Anthony Fontano, who is a fan of TIR.
Yeah.
Oh, and someone mentioned J. Cole. I hate J. Cole for the same reason I hate Kendrick. Well, I like not hate.
J. Cole.
We can push a call through now, Toussaint, if you want to push something through.
Okay, let's do that. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? And are you being pushed through?
I think so. This is Mariana from Minneapolis.
Oh, hell yeah!
I kept saying I was gonna call some other time, and then I got too nervous. But people were talking about music, so that means I have to.
Never get nervous when calling this show, especially if it's just me here. Don't get nervous.
Okay. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch upon something I was briefly mentioned. It's kind of like the idea that, okay, so it's hardcore. Recently, I feel like every other week I see articles talking about like the new wave of hardcore, and how like important and revolutionary it is, and it'll be like, because there's more young people getting involved into hardcore because of big bands like Turnstile.
Yeah.
But the way it's framed drives me insane. Because
in what way? And
what's
what's making you mad?
Okay, there's this idea that I feel like these journalism outfits feel the need to like legitimize liking hardcore now because it's like woke, but like the stuff they point to is just like demographic changes. It's not even necessarily a content in the music. And they'll say they're not tokenizing bands, but they're like, look, a black person plays bass. Look, non-binary person singing. And it's like, it's cool to see. Like, I like seeing bands like that, but it feels like they're almost suggesting the music is a lot more like political and groundbreaking than it is, and that also like this was solely a white male space before, and like everyone else was shoved out. I know the climate has changed, so I don't want to discount that, but there's also this idea sometimes that like if music is not made by someone who fits all your demographic boxes, like you can't relate. And that's always really irritated me as someone who loves metal and hardcore and like almost, I guess I don't see myself reflected appearance wise so much, but the music's always really resonated with me on an emotional level. And like most of my favorite artists, I'm like on paper, people are like, wow, I didn't think you'd like blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I know what people mean, but I'm kind of, it's a little irritating because it's like, why not? They're singing about like very human experiences. Why would I need someone who's like a Latina, autistic, like 20 something to be singing about this for it to be important?
Well,
I
let me say this, Mariana. First of all, Mariana, thank you for calling. Thank you so much for calling. And I will answer you this. And shout out to Minneapolis. Sadly, I heard the club that we played in Minneapolis is no longer there. But I will say this. I understand as a Black person in the same genre exactly what you're talking about. And I go back to grunge and who got to talk about grunge and why it got looked at as this revolutionary genre of music. I think for a lot of writers, it was a return to what they thought was serious music because of the look of the artists, right? It looked very 60s-esque. They weren't playing loud, colored guitars with pointy shapes. These were guys playing Gibson Les Pauls, and it had all the iconography of quote unquote classic rock. And it was such a return for the boomer generation that's still writing and publishing these very large and influential, dare I say, gatekeeping magazines, that this was the important music to finally put to bed this Reagan era-esque decadence that is hair metal and even a lot of the pop music that comes out of that era as well. And now we're going to be serious. And the same thing I think can be said for what you're talking about, because on the plus side, and we actually saw this with nu metal, and this is actually why I talk about that genre so much, even though I'm not a fan of it. With nu metal, it really is this music of the time. People of color, because of deregulation, there's a lower bar to buy homes. They're moving out of the urban areas into the suburbs, which is all about mall culture. So you start to have people that probably weren't exposed to certain things be exposed, and you get this cross cultural collaboration. Young people growing up on MTV, digging things that are worrisome to parents, like NWA, but also before NWA was worrisome to parents, hard rock and heavy metal was. So you're getting those two people together in the same place. And you're seeing it again kind of with this new round of where new bands, non-binary people in the genre, there's people of color in the genre, but they've kind of always been there. Life of Agony, which is kind of old school hardcore band from the early 90s, their singer is trans, wasn't trans when they started, but is now. And that's all you talk about when you hear Life of Agony and not the songs, which is kind of sad. And that's the problem with identity first. But that's also where we are in a moment where there is no mass culture, there is no mass politics, but the politics of identity is where people kind of get excited about, right? I watched a clip of a man who is of Latin descent get yelled at by a white guy, and the white guy was like, "This ain't Tijuana, keep the noise down," or something. And he videoed it, and it went viral, and all these Latin people came to his neighborhood to fuck with the man. It was like hundreds of people came down there to fuck with this man. We don't see that same type of response when services are cut for poor people of Latin descent. People aren't going to come out in mass. We're just so caught up in identity first, which ultimately boils down to what? Recognition. That's all it really boils down to. Recognizing that I'm here. It's like, all right, you're here. That's cool. That's great.
Acknowledge me.
Then what? So I'm always like, Marcus, I'm always like, okay, and then what?
Yeah.
Where are these cats coming from? Because who's got money to buy instruments nowadays? Who's got the ability to take lessons? Who's got the ability to make noise in a space? You can't just set up in the garage in any town, USA. If you're living in an apartment complex, you can't practice anything. So, who are the people making up these genres? Who are the people talking about these people as well? Who can afford journalism school?
Yeah. Which, speaking, and then I was lucky enough to be able to afford college through the GI Bill. But I did take this class that it was just like a music class, and I loved it. It was a history of music, and the guy was able to really connect like the sonic qualities of the different quote unquote genres, and basically all the class ended up doing is picking apart genre, because like at the end of the day, the genre is music, right? Like that's because like even as you see it too, it's like, oh, this is an oil painting or watercolors, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is a painting, though, right? And, like, the specific mediums in which case someone is looking at this painting doesn't necessarily change whether it's a boat or a spaceship or a landscape. Like, it's all the same shit. Is it a good painting, And that's where you get down to the specifics of, is this specific artist good at guitar versus the drums? Is this collective of musicians, how do they incorporate themselves? But that's the thing, is that, like you were saying, and this is the fucking just peak neoliberalism, right? Where you only hey, this is a black man with an Ohio State t-shirt and dreads, so hey, anybody else in the audience, if you meet these things, then I'm your favorite because we are the same, right? And that's just nonsense, because I definitely don't, but I could be saying nonsense.
Let me ask you guys this question to the audience, and to, of course, these two lovely nigglets on the screen. So
didn't see that coming.
You got 2 more times.
Okay, a serious question. 4 Non-Blondes is from where I'm from, in the Bay Area. If you guys remember 4, and I said, hey, they were, Kushlik, this is how they were defined, so please don't get mad at me. I'm just saying how they were defined. Swear to God, please don't get mad at me. I will walk to wherever you live and give you a hug so you don't get mad at me. They were a queer band. When they went into the studio, when they got their major label deal, I believe it was their guitar player couldn't play, couldn't cut it. So they were like, we got to get a replacement in here because she can't play. And these songs are going to suffer. So they bring in a straight dude. And they got tons of pushback from their fans. There was a legit scene for that stuff. Tribe 8, 4 Non-Blondes, and so many other bands that come out of San Francisco that were like doing a lot. And 4 Non-Blondes really breaks through with I forget the name of that song. I said, hey.
What's going on?
What's going on?
I like that song. That's a good song.
It's a great song, and Linda Perry gets a whole second life through Pink and writing all those hits in the 90s and 2000s.
You know what I'm saying?
But they caught hell because they're like, you guys sold out. Is it selling out? And I know people in Tribe 8. Is it selling out if you have to get a person to actually play the parts, or is it selling out if you're playing the role? Like our gimmick is we're all gay. That's the gimmick. We're the gay guys. I'm asking the question. I do not know the answer. I want to hear Tucson first.
Oh my gosh. Pop quiz. I don't know. This is an impossible question. Like, which one is selling out? I don't know. I think selling out is probably having the female player who can't play.
That's how I think. Like, I'm just pretending at that point. But Marcus,
I mean, like, it just depends on like how many layers you want this onion to have.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because if they said we just want to be a front for queer musicians, then getting the straight dude is selling out. If you want to make good music,
right,
then having a shitty guitar player, which like it seems just like a bad move. It just seems like nepotism, shit like that, or something.
Right.
Friend, you know, who happens to also be gay, so that's all we need. You know, like they're able to stand and hold a guitar, nailed it. You know, so at the I guess
my boys. Hey, Marcus, my boys came up with System of a Down in the LA scene, and they said back in the day, their original drummer was a white dude, and they're like, "Nah, man, we can't get signed. You gotta get all Armenians."
Yeah, you're out.
You're out.
You're out.
You're out.
Pale face. Get out of here. But I mean, and that System of a Down, good band. Very, I think, you know, especially when you talk about like the ability for, you know, a musician to be counterculture, you know, revolutionary, radical, what have you. You know, System of a Down is like, you know, definitely one of those bands that is now just got a bunch of like Gen Xers who are mad that they actually like read the lyrics now.
Yeah, like Rage. Yeah.
So
I like System of all the new metal bands. I really dig System of a Down. Tucson, we have to get through these calls.
Yes, we do.
Come on, man.
We were able to borrow Marcus for this long.
Because, you know,
the way he responded to the text, I was like, "Hey, can you do me the biggest favor in the world?" He's like, "Maybe." That's how it sounded. I read it. That's how I heard. Maybe.
So bingo squares don't make themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Bingo squares.
You push a call through, T?
Yes.
Go for it.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? And can you play the guitar?
DC Joe Black from DC. And I cannot play the guitar. Thank you.
You're in the band.
Boo.
That's right. Yeah, I was gonna say that for the topic of the show, hip hop seems to be more of a spark. Boo! It seems to be more of a spark rather than really moving people towards a class analysis. And I'll say that maybe I'm more of Pascal's age range because I was my crew, the fatigue jacket wearing, medallion wearing sort of folks. And I remember the night we were going to Howard's homecoming, and we went to a guy's dorm room at the University of Maryland, and he had Fight the Power, and it was new. And we got amped. we got hyped up. Some Italian guy from Long Island on the block said, "What are y'all listening to?" We said, "None of your business." And that was, and I wasn't wearing Tim's, and you'll like this, Jason, because we were also going to go dance to house music, so I wouldn't wear Tim's for that, right? And I had baby powder and the whole nine, so that's something else. That's something else. But the way it began for that semester on campus, from the fall into the spring, all of a sudden the campus became way more Black, as you say. We went towards the identity. We had like Kwame Ture came to speak, and there was almost a riot. We had Leonard Jeffries coming to speak, all these different people. And we kind of continued that. But if you say any of us moved towards a class analysis or anything, no. We were just pro-Black. As long as we have Black lawyers, Black engineers, Black scientists, as long as we're represented, forget about everybody else. And then you would say, like, what even happened with that? We all graduated. Everyone graduated. They got their jobs, their good government jobs.
Good. They all got
some of us went to the military. And so that all fell behind, and there was only like a small few, someone like myself, who took it a little bit deeper, right? A little bit further. I don't want to say deeper, but just a little bit further and stuff. So anyway, that's just the point I wanted to touch on. And just thank you guys for your show. Great analysis. And I'm sorry Marcus has to go, but work needs to be done.
I do, and I want to apologize.
Thank you so much.
I wasn't trying to take shots, with the medallions and everything like that. But I appreciate that perspective. And, like, that's the thing is like where like Pascal taught me this. But that's the thing, and like I feel like it makes such a great point where he was able to look around at like a lot of his classmates in college and say, we all listen to the same thing, right? One of those motherfuckers is on the board of Raytheon right now.
That's right.
First Black Raytheon board member, right?
Yeah.
But you also got a very intelligent man that was able to take that to the next step, And like I largely see that in the same, like for myself, and I think there's a lot of younger guys that are like with Bernie Sanders' campaign. There's way too many people who said, "Hey, this doesn't work. Maybe that's too far left," And then there's a lot of people who are like, "Wait, there's actually a few contradictions even with his platform, as much as I agree with. Hey, there's a lot of historical ties. Let's pull that thread, and then you end up, in a lot more left of a position. But like that's like the point is that you can all listen to that same thing, and agreed to exclude that Italian motherfucker."
Hey, what do you Moulignans listen to over there? Freedom music.
We listen to freedom music, motherfucker. But yeah, you all listen to the same thing, and 1 out of 10, and that's the real thing. And that's like kind of like to the point of what can music be revolutionary? It can. It also can.
I think we should do a raffle since people keep talking about the guitar, because I have this guitar that I was thinking about. I don't know. I just haven't played it since I did this tour like 4 or 5 years ago, and I just got my guitars back. And I've never seen this color on a guitar before. And it's kind of cool. Should we raffle it, Toussaint?
Sure.
You guys want to see it?
Sounds dope.
Okay, here, take another call, and then I'll go get it.
All right. Here you go.
There you go. I'll go get it.
Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Saludos, camarada. This is a Chavo from the Inland Empire in California.
All right.
And I want to kind of like, what's up, Toussaint and Marcus? Really interesting conversation y'all are having. I kind of want to like get back to like this whole question of is hip hop revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish Pascal was on the show because he might argue that hip hop is not revolutionary enough. Perhaps, maybe, I don't know. And the reason why I bring that up is because ever since the right wing media started using the word woke, and I'm like, where did that come from? Like, it sounds like something like maybe like out of like an Erykah Badu verse, or maybe it was maybe even Nas or something like that. And like, I don't know, like you guys were bringing up like this whole idea of commodification of different styles of music and how it kind of murks the water a little bit. So I'd like to hear you guys' take on that.
Well, with woke, that woke goes back. Wait, oh damn, that is a hell of a fucking
That is
guitar.
fancy.
Yeah, looks a little woke. No, woke goes back. Woke goes back farther than that. Much farther than like Erykah Badu, but but use like large, like this is like the Public Enemy song. It's like this is for black use. But now, especially, and that's the thing where the right wing, especially with the term woke, like Black Lives Matter, critical race theory, these are some of the things that are like the precursor to the current culture war usage of the word woke. Like that, it also focuses on schools, which then also ties into anti-queer, transphobic, policies and all this type of stuff. So yeah, it's like the right wing will, I think, like a lot of times just like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, and then merging whatever shit is stuck to the wall all together. And yeah, I mean, with even to the point of like hip hop is not revolutionary enough. I agree, because like I think nothing in, I'm not revolutionary enough. Like we need, if you want, like, like I want to get past capitalism. So in my opinion, nothing is revolutionary enough because we're still here, so like I wish, there were some driving us. I wish there was more hip hop artists that said, like would think, or just be more aware, a little more woke, maybe, I don't know, and want to make music that is more driving factors. But a lot of times, not everybody gets into art to change the world. Sometimes they just like doing whatever they want to do, and and that's all. God bless them.
Somebody said they wanted to see the guitar again. It's an Explorer body style. It's a Chinese knockoff that I got, and we put new electronics in it. And of course, I always take. Oh no, we got disconnected from the call again. I always take the strap buttons off, and I put hooks in because I have carabiners as strap locks. I found that if you throw a guitar, you won't bust the straps out like that. So we should auction this off. The color of this is like a really cool light grayish metallic blue. I don't know if you can really see it in the light.
You can kind of see, yeah.
This new lighting setup. But yeah, let's auction this off.
Look who it is.
Oh, and it comes in a case. A flight case. So
Marcus is not to be outdone.
Oh,
cute.
Here he is.
He's got socks on.
Here he is. He's pissed because I woke him up.
You love to see it. Thanks for being a good sport, Winston.
I've been enjoying the calls today, even though this is the most money we've ever spent on a call-in show. And, sadly, the super chats didn't offset the money that is call-in is costing us. I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I do too. It's exciting. This is the most calls we've ever gotten.
Well, we were always afraid to do a call-in on a
Saturday.
on a Saturday. Imagine if we did a call in for the Finkelstein. Marcus.
No, I would have left.
You know, we replayed that a few weeks ago.
You replayed it? Oh, word.
We
Yeah.
played it
I
a
mean,
few
like
weeks
it's like it's kind of like it's like a trivia question to be like, when's the moment you learned the most, but also were the most uncomfortable you've ever been at the same time?
Gotta be the Finkelstein interview.
You know what? I feel like the caller is right when it comes to like genres, and when we do stuff like this, it's just to open up the conversation. We could have said something generic like music. Originally, we did have 2 people on to talk about hip hop specifically, but the call would have definitely splintered off in other directions because the young lady that called that said that she's a metal and punk fan, that always warms my heart when I know people that come from the world that I was in before this show that still kind of have a pinky toe in, dig what we do here and like this content. So God, I hate saying the word content. So thank you guys again for watching and engaging in this conversation, because I think I want to open up Saturdays to do more stuff like this where you guys kind of push the show forward and we sit back and listen to your guys' takes.
We're doing professional wrestling shit right now, right?
Yeah.
The narrative plays off the crowd.
Well, save
but
the
yeah, no, but like
OnlyFans.
I think that I think that though, especially with the different genres, like, and I, you know, like I wonder if like did punk ever have that like, hey, this is your like in a sense, it's like you just weren't supposed to be mainstream, you know? But like, did it ever have
those guys always wanted an entryway into the mainstream, and I kind of always asked this question, and I don't think anyone would ever give you an honest answer. I'm still friends with people in that original world. And I love these guys, and I believe that they believe what they're doing was sonically revolutionary. And I think they were against the mainstream. And at that time, it was very conservative. We have to go back to the 80s and remember Reagan and Thatcher era conservatism.
Was it Tipper Gore?
Tipper Gore is like the mid 80s, but these guys, like my friends in Flipper, those guys are all older dudes. Ted was in Vietnam. And these cats were sonically doing whatever the hell they wanted to do. If you listen to Flipper, they weren't playing 100 million miles an hour. They slowed it down. It was ugly. It was sludgy. They had horns in certain songs. It really was, we're going to be antithetical to what rock has become. And what had rock become from that hippie wave of the 70s and traditionally, after we get out of the teenager creation, this is what rock and roll is going to be, doo-wop stuff, to I'm a real musician, take me seriously because I'm a quote singer songwriter, folk stuff, into Prague of the 70s, which is like laser light shows. We're playing stadiums now. These bands grew up with that music. They didn't have the musical proficiency, a lot of them. Some actually did. And the world they saw wasn't the world that their predecessors saw. It wasn't, I can take a trip and be in the Peace Corps for a bit and then come back and get a factory job. It was factories are closing. I'm probably not going to have the same life my parents had. It was very nihilistic. They definitely are a product of what happens when the working class becomes reactionary. And they saw their parents, who were working class people that had a lot of them had union jobs, as reactionary. And again, much like the movie we watched, Pump Up the Volume, the answer is to thumb your nose at everything, government, your family, any traditional structures, my nose is being thumbed at it, right? And once they got into the mainstream, they didn't push back. Those corporate festivals those guys were playing, at that point, I wouldn't say it's a gimmick, but it just is what it is. That music didn't have, a Marxist critique on capital, because there was no Marxist critique on capital. Maybe some people were reading that stuff in the scene, but it was just the politics of no, coupled with the politics of authenticity. And those two things work against each other for you to really build anything, And once you get a person into the mainstream, the Ramones, for example, there's no infrastructure that you have in place, right? To keep it real, quote unquote. And you're just kind of sucked up into the business.
Oh, shit, I saw, and this is just like a clip of some YouTube video essay, but it was on the Kings of Leon, I think.
Uh-huh.
This, your sex is on fire.
Yeah.
Those people. But they played some of those earlier tracks, and it was just like, oh damn, you know what I'm saying? You all made it, you made it, and I mean, that's where, like, what are you gonna do? Not sell a million albums, right?
They tried that before.
Yeah, like, so I get, I don't know. I think it's just at the end of the day, I think I put more of the onus on like on the people, in the general sense, where it is kind of like lazy to say like, why hasn't this inspired me and the masses to change our world for the better, so like, like it's just kind of like, what do you expect from people, and like, especially with the world that we live in, where you're like, most people interpreted a person's future actions from a song that person wrote, or maybe that person didn't even write it, they just performed it. They're just literally saying the words somebody else knew would be catchy, and people can interpret that as, not only is this person saying something that I agree with, but this person is as strident for the revolution as I am, and once they sell out the horseshoe, then they, you fucking betrayed me, you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
horseshoe.
They were trying to sell out the stadium,
They were
the whole time.
Look, everybody wants to bring as many people as possible to the thing, and I don't know if everybody has the same intentions with what they were doing. But the revolution, when we talk about like that first wave of punk, I think it's interesting because someone like Malcolm McLaren, who comes out of the Situationists, was trying to understand the spectacle with the Sex Pistols as something that was going to bring about the revolution. And I didn't know Malcolm McLaren growing, I don't know him didn't know him personally. But he seems to be an interesting cat because he kind of stayed true to his politics towards the end with the way he spoke. And I just don't think a lot of people, the revolution of them was anything more. It wasn't that deep. It wasn't deeper than fuck you, mom and dad.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you get. To me, that's the crux of the movie we watched last night.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, fuck you, mom and dad. I'm mad you moved me here. Now we don't know what the sequel to that movie looks like because it would suck. He'd be popular. He'd have the girlfriend. Would he care to talk to people on the radio anymore?
Well, he also helped launch 1,000 podcasts.
1,000 shows, right? It's like Chapo, like hanging out with the Chapo guys. We did a live thing. I haven't talked to you in a minute, Marcus. We did a live thing in Irvine, at UC Irvine, and I met Crispin's been on the show a few times, but I actually met him in real life, and Amber Ailey Frost, and cool people. Actually enjoyed the conversation that we had when we went back to the kind of after party thing, and that moment, and I said this at the thing, that moment can't happen again for a show to get that big.
Mm-hmm.
There was a void.
Yeah.
And they filled a void, and they did launch A Million Voices.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what happens with this stuff. If that's what you want to do, you launch A Million Voices, but do you want those million voices to work in concert with one another? Or do we want them to work siloed off and they try to take little pieces of this market and this market, which is ultimately what you see with the world that we exist in right now. The reason why I'm not a big fan of like podcast drama, even though we're not, behind closed doors, we talk a lot of shit and gossip like anybody else, but it's behind closed doors, right? Because a lot of that shit that you see is like, I want to get so-and-so's audience. I saw the same thing in music. We'll try to be friends with so-and-so, get their audience, and then talk shit about them. It's a silly strategy because it doesn't really work.
Yeah. No.
But that's ultimately what you, and this is all about market share. It isn't about being revolutionary.
Man, I got my own soundboard, and I just like the ding. I got like a correct ding, correct. Like, like I want to put something else to see, like for you to keep going to, because it's like the individualization, right? When you Chapo splits it off, it's like, yeah, now there's a lot of people who say, "Oh, I agree with Chapo, and I'm going to make my own," right? But like, it isn't a part of a collective. It isn't a part of a greater narrative. It is that a separation onto itself, and I like that's where like the means of production, right? What does this mean, right? What does this mean to us now? And it's not about having your own podcast. It's about having at least a collectively owned building full of servers and computers and tech nerds and dweebs being able to house the collective voice, right? It's not about the musician. It's about the industry. That's the thing. And can one musician change the music, through the music industry? No, they're like, and that's the thing is like, you take someone like Prince, who spends most of his career saying fuck you to the way that the industry is run. Is the industry run any different?
And he did it within the industry, right? He had temper tantrums that people looked at as like, oh wow, Prince is so this, that, and the third. It's like he, as a Prince mega fan,
right?
Not hate. No, this is not from. And if he was alive, I would have loved to have this conversation with him. He probably would have told me to F off at some point.
Oh yeah.
But he can only exist within the system. Prince takes pop music as far as it can possibly go in an experimental realm. Probably one of the most talented guitar players, in my opinion, when it comes to style. Oh, he could play jazz, funk, metal, name a genre. He could just own it. His confidence is the essence of rock and roll to me. There's a few people that when we talk about what is the soundtrack for me personally of like revolution for me, it's Link Wray's Rumble. Just oozing the way he swaggers across the stage as he plays that riff, right? Prince for me playing Let's Go Crazy and Purple Rain for me was like it. When I saw that as a little kid, I was like, that's what I want to be. My pants haven't fit the same since. But
yikes.
Right. But those, Prince only really could exist in a system that could promote him. Underground just wasn't going to be it. He tried, kinda, and never had the level of success he had until he was working through major labels. So, these guys that have to go through a major to then be independent, it's a whole different pathway. And now with the short attention span, we were off the air for a week. You should have seen the dip in the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I toured so hard in LaFin. We were playing 150 shows a year sometimes. We were out for 6 months straight. We went through 2 vans. My daughter came on the road on that tour. We went around the country so many times, Marcus. If I never see the Cascade Mountains again, I will be a happy person. Just because we knew the moment we shut down to sleep, God forbid, work, enjoy each other's company, things that normal people do, we would be forgotten.
Yeah. And it's like,
Well, hit him, Tucson.
Someone like Hassan,
Mm-hmm.
where I have no idea how he is able to sit there and stream every single day for like 8 fucking hours.
The mortgage note.
Well, but like, there it is, right? Wow. There it is. But that's that thing is that like, he's doing the damn thing and it's coming back, and like, this is not to take away. I don't like, not literally like, look at the Twitch statistics. Most people try and do that and fail horribly.
Yeah.
It's something that I don't even want to attempt, because at that point it's like, it's just admitting it and then diving full head, diving in head first. But like, that's the thing where it's like, like Prince, like any major artist that is like at the top, you got to realize the structure that they're standing on top of, which is the same structure that they're arguing against, and which is fine. I'm not saying like it's not necessarily hypocritical, but you do have to recognize it's only really hypocritical if he's saying, "Oh, I never used it," or "I didn't," like it can be, but like we have to recognize that it is the structure itself, and just you got to see that even if someone's standing on top of it and saying the structure is bullshit, like if you like, do you really think that? Because if it goes, you go. And like, are there artists that are willing to say, I don't care? And like, I think of like, some guy like Tom Morello from Rage, who's still like doing random shows and selling guitars to give to like, mutual aid groups or, people in bad situations and all this type of shit, but, and like people are getting pissed because Rage is throwing shows and it's $300 a ticket, but this, like, and that's where it's like, well, yeah, they're not throwing a charity concert.
And the game has changed. And music, look, just like when gas prices went up, a lot of smart people that watched this show was like, they didn't need to go up. Yeah. That was forced inflation. Ticket sales are the same way. Fire Festival showed the music industry that people are willing to pay top dollar for exclusive events. Don't ever think that people looked at Fire Festival and went, "Oh, tisk tisk." No, everybody goes, "No shit," and their eyes got as big as Oreo cookies. When I was doing festivals, I think I've said this before on air, The last year I was there, like 2018, it was a 40% fall off in the number of festivals because so many lost money. So many lost money. And they were trying to hone in, okay, well, what's making money? Exclusivity and a high-end feature. So a festival like Bottle Rock that happens in Napa, which is a wine and food and, of course, music festival, doesn't have the hot young artists. You know why? Hot young artists doesn't make money. They don't bring drinkers.
Yeah.
Little Xanax pump balls
Wow.
brings an all-ages crowd that doesn't drink. Nobody makes money. And they don't even sell the house out. Nobody cares. You know who makes money? Foo Fighters. You tired of seeing the Foo Fighters? Tell all your friends that want to see a rock band and the only one around.
I mean, shit, dog. The son of the submarine billionaire was at a Blink 182 concert while motherfuckers were searching for his daddy next to the Titanic.
All the dead dads.
And with that, we're going to go into super chats. Wow. Deshaun Too Nice says, nah, man, we was kings and shit. Come on now.
I appreciate your DPS. Thank you so much. All this means a ton.
Listen to that subtle request for more super chats. And then Bay Planner sent us a $5 super chat.
That's the world. All this is the world. It means we can keep doing this show. We can keep building a fun community where people can feel comfortable to hopefully call in, say crazy shit. We can do more history shows that get demonetized.
And of course, you love to see Marcus. Some calling money. Shout out to Left Flank Vets. Discord has a gardening channel, unlike other Discords. It's true. It is true. In our Discord, there's a whole bunch of shit that people created and they talk about whatever. So you want to get your gardening game on, you know? Grow some
Again,
potatoes.
I'm not anti-Discord. Derek Varn has frightened me from Discord. If you see me in these streets, I'm very talkative. We can hang out, have a good time. I'm terrified to get on any sort of online forum with people. I just don't want to. I can't subject myself to.
It's like,
dude, I'm afraid to read the comments now. I'm not reading any more comments.
Yeah, he's got this new phobia.
After the show Tuesday, I was like, oh yeah, I'm good. You guys, you won.
And nothing happened on Tuesday. Nothing happened. We do have callers though.
Push them through.
Here we go. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Are you asking me?
Yep.
This is Jonathan again from Worcester. So, just real quick, I just wanted to mention, if it hasn't already, Dead Prez and their proximity to the Uhuru movement, which has gained popularity because of the recent arrest. But in regards to some of the previous callers, the inclusivity bugging someone, I know for years growing up, there was a lot of talk about inclusivity and whatever, if it's animal rights or just leftism in general, but it was all white guys. I went to a power violence show last September, and although the headliner was Drop Dead, it was co-headlined by Under Attack, which is one of Woody's bands. The other bands were not all old white guys, and the audience was
much more diverse than anything I had seen in any scene, barring the early 2000s noise scene in Providence. And I also just wanted to mention briefly, like bands like Zulu, Jesus Peace, Soul Glow, even if they're not leftist, they're kind of an arm of, or like they're at least like something different besides just doing bro hymn type shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, and I just wanted to shout out with regards to the gay bands, Limp-Wrist fucking rules, and they always will.
Well, shout out Limp-Wrist. I don't know Limp-Wrist, but I got to check out Limp-Wrist. Jonathan, thank you for the phone call. And again, I can't stress it enough. We played with Soul Glow in their home of Philadelphia. Blew them niggas off.
He's like,
they thought, oh, you think
he's
you
like,
ready?
you should have stayed a hair product, my dude. Sorry about that.
There's video of
Sorry
that too.
about that.
There is video of that too.
Damn.
Dr. Smurfo wants to know, how do we join the Discord? I believe this is Marcus's Discord. That he's asking about.
Oh man, I'm bad. I can try. I'll throw a link in the. I can't do the chat here.
Do you need to be a? You can put it
give
in the private
Tucson.
chat.
Tucson can put it in the chat if you do that.
Oh, okay, cool.
You give it to her in the private. Yeah.
Do you need to be a patron to be in your Discord?
No. I mean, honestly, if you just search Left Link Vets, you probably find it. But I'll get the link here.
Oh, nice.
It is open, but obviously, if you
Jesus Peace. Side note: Jesus Peace is one of the hardest bands out that I've seen right now. Jesus Peace is hard, and again, that band Loathe also is multiracial. I'm digging them, but Jesus Peace, that brother is no joke. That's about as close as you're gonna get to HR right now. Is that cat? I think it's Aaron is his name from Jesus Peace. He's a beast.
Are you ready?
Someone said, can I see the video? I'll find the video. I'll look for it. And I got to find the song that I played on with Dead Prez. I have to find that. I posted it on YouTube a while ago.
Which, and like, I guess too, and like, so you mentioned that there might be some connections to, Huru and whatever. Like that's where it's like, hey, if somebody I mentioned did something bad, I think that's also bad. If there's some type of nuanced take later on, I also have that position.
I mean, look, let's be honest. We said this earlier. A lot of cats just, get involved with shit that sounds good. We're black nationalist socialists.
I mean, fucking like, yeah, because that's where it's like someone as smart as Cornel West started off his campaign with the People's Party. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people can fuck up.
Yeah, it's okay. I never met them, actually. Coach Will hooked it up. If you guys know Coach Will, he actually is a producer. I don't think I talk about it that much on the show. The first thing I ever did musically, like I guess professionally, my first deal and everything was when I was in a rap group with Will in the 90s. And we recorded our first real project with the Black Eyed Peas DJ Motivate at the time in SoCal. So that is why I talk so much about hip hop and the hip hop industry, because I did actually get my musical industry start in the hip hop world.
Marcus, can I tell you a secret about Jason?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, if we have callers on the line, it is a surefire way to get Jason to do a soliloquy. He knows that money's burning, and he's just like, I'm going to talk about my sepia tone memories right now.
Oh shit.
And on that note,
look at it.
It never fails.
You are so mean.
I am mean. You're mean to callers.
You know who
David,
you're
wait.
mean to?
What?
Nobody. You really aren't. You're kind of a bit of a saint.
I'm kind of a saint.
A little bit.
It's in my name.
Little
Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? And do you have a Jesus piece?
Is this me?
Yep.
All right. My name's Eli, and I am from Los Angeles. And I don't know what a Jesus piece is, so I didn't grow up watching all that Jesus piece kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm also someone who came from the punk scene, and for a while was in a punk band, and all of the music was just like, oh, we've got to have like a meaning, and it's got to be like political, and like we can't, all this other music is apathetic, and our music has a message. And like it took me a while to kind of realize that like that music, first of all, it's like everyone's screaming, so you can't fucking hear any of the lyrics anyways. But also, it's like that music is kind of like contrived and preachy, and that, well, at the end of the day, it's like sometimes the shows where maybe like go into like they would have like charity shows and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it was still just kind of an excuse to like get drunk, and that like I don't know. It's like I do think that listening to that kind of music like formed a bit of my political identity. Like I'm still a vegan because I got like a PETA pamphlet in one of the liners for a record, and it's been a while, but it kind of stuck around. And like others, I'm still listening to shit like this. Every once in a while, I try to do something that's helpful, but like for the most part, it was just like an identity that you got to buy, right, or buy into, or put it on your patch, like on your jacket somewhere. And that like now I listen to a lot of music that is like, according to most people, has like no political message, which is like electronic music, techno, house, drum and bass, that sort of thing. But I feel like it actually does offer something that was more difficult to get into with the punk music, which is that it has no message, right? There's nothing that you're being beaten over the head with. The music is purely there for you to interpret whichever way you want. It's almost like abstract art, right? Like the abstract art can affect you in a way, and that it speaks to you, and it speaks to you in a way that you're projecting your own interpretation onto it. And so it doesn't just have like actually this like, this picture that's entirely purple is about like my mother or something. It's like it talks to you and whatever you're doing in your life, and gets you to get more in touch with yourself and with your body. And I think that has like a huge potential to reduce people's alienation, right? And to create a sense of community and that sort of thing. And that unfortunately, it's like all music has this duality to it. Like it either is this really powerful thing that can bring you closer to yourself or to others, or it can be a form of escapism. And so that's kind of something that I struggle with a lot as someone who like works in music and spends a lot of time at events and stuff like that, being like, is this escapist? Am I coming to this as a form of escapism? Am I encouraging other people to be escapist? Or am I like forming a community, having people come together and reduce their alienation? And yeah, I guess that's all I had to say on that.
Do we know each other, Eli?
Give you some sense.
Can you hear us, Eli?
Yeah, I sent you some cents in the mail.
You are the reason why we have the last Bitter Lake record.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Is it out yet?
Oh yeah.
All right. I'll have to listen to that.
It opens up with synth lines. My goal was to make a gothy synth thing, and I'm too heavy metal to do that. So I knew you sounded familiar.
Yeah, I've got the kind of like, surfer bro California accent too. So it stands out a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy that those came in handy. I think, that's like a kind of part of this is like I sent synths to like a lot of people just because over the pandemic, like, my business was doing all right. And I was like, I have these fucking things laying around. I'm just going to send this to people that I like instead of trying to get like an extra 50 to $100 for it or whatever. And then, so that, I don't know. It's like, I do this. I'm literally like a small business owner, and I'm like, but I still consider myself to be a lefty and a socialist. I'm trying to kind of like put together what the fuck that means, because at the end of the day, it's like my politics are against my own self-interest, and also like, I don't know, I'd like to live in a society where people don't just die because they're poor. But
Hey, Eli, thank you so much for the call. Thank you so much for the synths. We'll end the show playing the opening track from that new record that you were instrumental in. Thank you, brother. You're a huge asset to the TIR team.
Hey, and Eli, don't feel bad. Okay, if you are a small business owner, and this is a legal designation per the U.S. government as a way to collect taxes. So if you are a small business owner and you're a socialist, that depends on your relationship to your workers. If you don't have any workers and it's just you or maybe a few people, like there's no like. Just because you're a small business owner does, socialism, it does not mean no markets and no jobs. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't ever feel bad. Don't let online lefty people who say you have your own business. It's like, as long as your business isn't owning an apartment complex, you know what I'm saying? Like you're fine.
Jesus.
You're fine, bro.
It could be a commune.
Well, that's where it's like, if you are the manager of a housing co-op, that's
a
one
whole
thing.
different thing.
That's a whole different thing.
Co-op people's paychecks.
But yeah, I don't know. Is that the same person? I don't know if that's or just another small business owner. And that's where it's like, I am a small business owner, or it's like me and a few of my idiot friends. We have a co-op. We own a business. Yeah. And no, we're a bunch of losers that stream on the internet and
thank you.
Dude,
Bertram,
you play music, okay? You do something cool. Anything I do outside of the internet is talk more politics. I know I'm a loser. It's fine, but at the end of the day, don't ever feel bad. That's and I think it's like Richard Wolff talks a lot about this, about having co-ops, right? Really, actually owning your own means of production. Yeah, but how that is structured is it goes more to whether it's actually socialist or not. Not necessarily just the fact that you own a business, but
Dr. Claus says he has a synthesizer. It's a little box, and Eli made a channel, made a patch on the synthesizer called "You'd Be Surprised How Many People Love the Crack." He's a really nice guy. He's sent me a few things to help out with music production, and sadly I haven't had a lot of time. But this weekend is a very important weekend for me to get something done for the channel me and Ben Burgess are doing, and also some other TIR projects. So I will be back at creating some noise. In Toussaint, we have one last caller.
Indeed. Gonna put him through. This caller has a lot on their mind.
Oh, hello. Am I on right now?
Yep. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hey. My name is Boston, actually, and I am calling from Los Angeles. I am the notorious Deshaun tonight. So I was going to say, I think, personally, the question, sorry, my roommate is air frying something, but I personally think that hip-hop isn't revolutionary, and I suppose the reason I would argue that is partly because I feel like Jason said something important earlier, where it's like this whole identity thing, attached to being black, presumes that if black people do something, then it follows that it must have some revolutionary capacity, which I personally would argue is wrongheaded, given that how to put this.
I suppose like it comes from this position of like there are Black people who have the capacity to do reactionary things, and because of that, it would follow that like Black people aren't like monolithic in terms of their actions. So like this is some like I think it has to do with like racism for some reason that like, well, Black people do something, then therefore it's good, or that sort of thing. I'm not sure if like that point follows, but like that's sort of the gist of where my argument lies.
You want to respond to it, Marcus?
So, yeah, that's
but hey, first of all, thank you for the call. And are you a Black person in Los Angeles?
I'm Black. I'm half Mexican, but like I'm mixed. So.
Do you fight yourself? Do you find yourself fighting yourself because you're Black and Mexican in Los Angeles?
I actually find myself fighting against other biracial people.
That's awesome.
Hell yes.
This is amazing.
Yes.
No, I'm destroying the biracial power structure one bit at a time.
Hell
there
yeah.
can only be one.
I didn't know this was the race war that I actually would get excited about.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
This is hilarious. The biracial conversation that we had with Bertram on Thursday, I thought was going to get us in more trouble than the Tuesday show, considering we said that Bertram had multiple circumcisions because he's Black and Jewish. Oh. And now we have mixed guy Highlander that is Black and Mexican in an area where there's been serious conflicts between these two groups of people. This is amazing.
And he's like, I'm not even worried about them.
Like,
I'm
I'm
worried
not
about
worried
these
about them.
other biracial.
It's the Asian, it's the Filipino and Mexicans that I'm fighting.
Oh yeah,
those are the ones that need to be taken down a peg.
Yeah, you gotta watch out.
That's right. The Armenians are down.
The Armenians,
But no, I think like I guess to that point, like where
caller, thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, brother. Thanks for
seeing something as Black.
Sorry.
Seeing something that's Black or not, very much tied to racism. Because like that's where it's like outside of like white supremacy and green bean casserole, nothing's really seen. Nothing's really white, right? But it's like, it's like take to the things of, especially how our things are described in, the greater societal context of what is Black and is it positive or not, like it, it's
that shit is so funny. That shit is so funny. Like, look, Toussaint, you're one of those Black island people that only exist in the East Coast, you and Marcus.
Oh, God. Black island people.
There's no regular Black people. Like, everybody thinks Mark is a regular Black dude. Bob Marley looking ass Negro.
Yeah, I'm
no.
regular Black.
No, he's not.
I got kicked
Lord
out
of mercy.
I got kicked out of the Black club. My parents are Jamaican. I'm off
Pascal,
the boat. Off
Lord
the
of
boat.
mercy.
Yeah.
Off the boat. You're surrounded.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the last one standing. Jason goes full ADOS on
pure
TIR.
ADOS, baby. Pure ADOS.
Jerk ass Jason. Full ADOS.
Oh my God. I can't believe we started this show with that woman and people are still talking about the Armenians.
It's so great.
They're down. They're down.
They're
down. How many people came to the show late? Because I kind of want to play that again.
Oh God, no, please don't. Don't do it again, Jason.
I kind of want to play it again. Can we play it again? Toussaint, can we play it again?
Sean's gonna get mad. Sean's gonna get
are
mad.
you gonna Sean? Real talk. If you get mad, if I play it again, I won't play it. If Sean says, "Hey man, I don't appreciate it," I won't.
Sean, I don't think Sean's like. Nah.
Hold on, Sean's got to make a comment. If Sean says, "Don't play it again," I won't do it.
I don't want you to play it again. I started feeling like, oh man, I might snap one day and start end up on the internet like this lady. Talking
Oh,
about this.
there's a lot of people that missed it.
This fucking Putin's penis right here, motherfucker.
Oh, Sean.
This is Sean. Sean, are you legit gonna get mad? I can't tell if you're effing with me or not, Sean.
Sean is sad. Sean is sad.
Sean, you don't want me to, if you don't want me to play it, Sean, I won't do it. You have to say Jay don't play it, and I won't play it.
Oh man, exercise that power.
Exercise the power, Sean.
Exercise the power. This is a few times. Caesar is sitting in the audience.
I don't see Sean commenting, but I'm waiting for Sean to comment.
See,
Is that look? Sean.
See, that's a
okay. Yeah. Somebody said Sean just log off for 3.
It's so fucked up. That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
You guys are so cold. Like, hey man, we know you got PTSD.
Oh my god,
we shoot this person.
Oh my god.
Okay, I won't play it. All right, I won't play it. I will listen. I will listen.
Listen, we just got woke. The stream just got woke.
Oh,
woke.
Mind virus. Got the mind virus.
Yeah, you lose anyway. You lose anyway.
Right.
As I sip on this Bud Light.
Sean, are we? But Sean, look, are we still friends, Sean? If I play it, are we still friends?
You really,
you know what's funny?
Man, you sound like the white dude that's like, can I just say it once? What about in the song?
What about in the song?
What if you're not around?
If a nigger drops in the woods when no one's around, like this.
Jason.
I have no idea what Sean looks like. He could punch me in the chest and be like, "Hey, it's me."
Yeah.
Sean said, "Of course, Jason."
Okay. Toussaint, be entertaining while I cue it up.
Be entertaining. What in the hell? Do you see what he does to me?
Well,
I
mean, like he says it like you got like like a harmonica sitting next to you, ready to.
That's right. Next to my bindle and my fingerless gloves.
Yeah.
I got a harmonica. This dude.
Oh my god, this motherfucker right here.
I was trying to find it, and so I'm finding it in the TIR group chat, and the first thing I see is Quinn go, "Oh, that's straight meth."
Oh.
Jan says, "Now we all feel guilty."
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Sean, maybe you actually won the war. Because now everybody feels guilty.
Guilty.
All right, hold on. We got to share the screen. Oh, here we go.
We're still gonna do it.
Share.
Not that guilty.
That shit real fucking quick.
I know, right? I feel so bad. Anyway,
the life I lead, and how close this shit is to my real goddamn life. All right.
Guilty
For those of you that missed it, we're going to play this again.
Yeah.
Hopefully the audio only listeners won't get too angry. Hopefully they'll laugh.
November 27th, 1973.
Hello, Mom. Stop crying.
I am a federal agent. I will never shut down a store. Whoever's in charge is in charge. The Armenians are down. I'm not worried about Minos. I'm not worried about Russia. Anybody worried about Putin? Because this is his pussy. So, if Junior Unum wants to keep playing games, tell Sharif, stay with Sam Slarney. Because all you black men are reneging.
Huh?
It's called 1.8 million in gold. You want it? Go to Africa. We gave a black beach back. You don't want it? Stay here. Get off our line. It's the whites and the Latins. Anybody got a problem with it? Because I'm Indian too. I'm Vietnamese. This bitch is trying to free the world. So who's going to sell me my iPhone today? Who's gonna sell me the biggest iPhone in this house?
That's the best. This bitch is trying to free the world. Who's trying to sell me a motherfucking iPhone?
Trying to sell me an iPhone today.
Is that the whole thing?
Oh my god. No, that's like
There's more.
This is where it's like if it just held here, I'm telling you, this would have been an insta classic, right?
It's true. There is more.
Do we want to play the more? Because she just starts dropping N bombs.
I know. Can we stop here? Can we stop here?
Stop it right there.
We didn't
It's
get
the
to the
funniest
part
thing
with
on the internet.
Caitlyn.
If you keep going with it, it's because of the black guy goes, "Hey." Funniest
That's
part,
enough.
You're reneging, and the guy goes, "Excuse me."
1.5 million in Africa.
She said,
We just gave back a black beach.
If you want it, you got it over there. But you're still here. You're
Can
still
you
here.
imagine being at work? You're about to close the store. You know, the key holder is ready to do the count for the end of the night. You've just swept the front, and then that person walks in because you can tell everybody's behind the counter.
It looked like the whole damn store. Like all the other customers were like, "I'm just gonna come back here with y'all for a second."
Yeah, for real, right? I'm just gonna move this rope here.
Yeah.
Gonna open this panel.
Yeah, y'all.
Someone says, "Can you imagine the voices that tell her to say this stuff? If the voices are me."
Yeah.
That's
Voices are all Jason.
I think we're hearing it all unfiltered at this point.
The voices are just me, and I'm like, "Hey, you really want to like? This is funny."
Because I got snitched out and I got niggas all up in heat on my house.
So when she says niggas all up in heat, are they excited to mate?
You
Or do they
know
have
exactly what that means. Yes.
Sound like Ghostface. Niggas is fucking around my gate.
Someone says, "What a time to be alive."
For real.
Kush Look says, "Maybe both." It's a double entendre. She's got a double entendre.
Take that, Kendrick.
Kendrick does not have double entendres. Like,
No,
what did she say her name was? She said her whole name.
Oh, I don't know. So she said she was born in 1973.
I'm a federal agent. Look at my passport.
Yeah.
Man, this is a win.
Wild. That shit is so wild.
Somebody says she's spitting.
She got bars.
I got niggas all up in here. Oh my god. Wait a minute.
Chewy's up. Caitlin's done. Her dog.
Who the fuck is Caitlyn?
Caitlyn has
Don't
a
worry
great
about it.
name.
You don't got to worry about Caitlyn anymore.
That's right. She's done.
Done.
Who the fuck is Caitlyn? Is she done because the niggas are in heat or the niggas have heat?
I mean,
She's
this is
done
where
'cause
it's
she's
like,
spit.
I don't know, like you don't ask questions you don't want to know the answers to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like you want to ask about Caitlyn, you might find out where she went. You know what I'm saying? Do you
Right.
really want to know? You know? You want to go meet up with Caitlyn?
Is this the smoke you want? Is this the
Yeah.
smoke you want? Okay, it's almost over.
Is a Great Dane. Is he allowed to shit all over my house? Who is allowed to shit on me? Who shit in the streets of IMT?
What is IMT? I don't know what IMT is. But I'm mad that the dog isn't housebroken. And if a dog, like if Ben's dog was shitting in my house, as much of a crazy neat freak as I am, I might be in a T-Mobile.
Just hollering nonsense.
I might be in the
Do you believe this motherfucker shitting? This dog's shitting in my house.
Done.
Shitting in my house. Who's allowed to shit on me? Huh?
Shit in my house. Just another girl from the IRT. Like, what she? I have no idea what she's saying. Somebody said, "Stop it, y'all killing me," just because you said that.
That snitch, Caitlyn. So all these white bitches that think they own something, I'm not afraid. You want a word, nigga? Talk to Offset.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Talk to Offset. He's one of the Migos.
Did that one die? Did he die?
I think that was Takeoff. Offset, I think it's the one that's with Cardi B.
Oh, word.
She, you know how people say, "Well, that escalated quickly." No, it didn't.
That was a slow burn.
She walked in the door with 2 sticks of dynamite, juggling that shit. She fucking came. Kaboom! Guess who stepped in the room?
God. That bitch Caitlyn.
Dun, 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 dun. Shut the fuck up. Dun, dun, dun. Caitlyn snitching on niggas, so what's up? Y'all know the name.
Oh my God.
Damn thing changed.
Damn. Damn, man. Oh my God, you mother. I gotta listen to that song.
Somebody said the Kool-Aid Man entrance and the N-bomb.
Oh, apparently IMT is Iron Mountain in Michigan. In the up in the she's in the
This is where
Uper.
Ben is from.
Yeah.
Oh my
I believe
God!
that.
I'm about to send this to Burgess and be like,
Man,
"Look at
this
what
is a
Andy out here
normal.
doing."
This lady's not schizophrenic. She's not on any types of drugs. This is a normal Michigan lady on a bad day. All right, I don't feel bad at all. No longer feel bad whatsoever. This is a normal Michigan ass lady going about her business.
Yeah, just caught her at the wrong time.
Fucking Caitlyn ass. This is all Caitlyn's fault.
real.
Meddling ass bitch.
You gotta relax.
Talk to
First
Offset.
off, you gotta relax. Go ahead on.
The whole story. I was born November 27th, 1973.
Hello, Mom.
I am a federal agent.
So it's an Offset. He is amigo. He deal with kilos.
Dun, 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 dun. Every time I see it, that's all I hear is Pheromone rap.
Because you like as soon as she opens the door, and it's just like brah, 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 brah. I'm a federal agent. Bah, 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 bah.
Hey, one of you talented ass people, and there's so many of you watching this show. If you guys can put that instrumental to this, I don't know what I can give you. Ask for something, and I'll try to send it to you.
That's what you win if you get the guitar. You do it right.
I can't give you the guitar.
I'm over here making promises. You get a free trip to Jason's apartment. You get to hang out and leave with the guitar.
Sleep on his couch.
Sleep on his bed. Take a shower.
Throw shit all over his apartment.
Not shit in the apartment.
Caitlyn's Great Dane. Who gets the shit on Jason? Not Caitlyn. Not Caitlyn's dog.
Oh my God.
Oh, here. If you can do it, you get this. Bam. I will send the TIR mug. I don't care if you live in Uzbekistan.
Gotta get that.
You get the TIR mug. You get your choice. You get your choice. TIR mug, Black Panther tee, Central Committee tee, or
Oh damn! I didn't know if
ankle pessimism.
Fuck with Mike from PA.
Yeah, we were on Mike from PA show.
Oh, word. Is that T-shirt like a joint venture, or is it just Central Committee? Central Committee.
No, Central Committee is like it's us. So if you look at it, it's me, Pascal, Jean, and Kuba.
Oh, word. Yeah.
Central Committee.
So look, someone said, I don't care if you're down in the Armenian Highlands. Dude, if you guys could do that, because that's all I want to hear. This is how we go viral. This is how we blow the show up.
Hey, it's just a bunch of people calling us ableist and be like, no, I've got mental illness. It's fine. I'm allowed to say it. You know,
dude,
like that's just it's gonna be that back and forth.
This show, Toussaint, this show right here. Oh my god. The counseling that poor Toussaint has to do between the two main hosts. Jason, you know you should probably see a professional. That's fine.
Who's allowed to shit on me? So sorry, Jason.
Poor Toussaint. Just like seriously, guys, weep for this woman because you have no idea the phone call she gets from me at all hours of the night. But
Ask Offset.
Ask Offset.
What a weird thing to say. She liked the Migos.
See, and this is like, well, that's the thing. It's like, and I gotta say this because Sean, no one's punching down, right? Like everybody here wants anyone with mental illness or disabilities to be taken care of. You know, it's just words that are put together that make us laugh. You know, like if I could help this woman, I would in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, like it isn't going to be all that. You know, like no one's making fun of schizophrenia. It is literally the combination of words that's just funny, and like it's not going to be more than that. You know,
if you've watched this show since its inception, since I was living, in a place where I wasn't supposed to be living when I started the show, since I've done this show as a homeless person in various libraries, hoping no one would notice. One thing we always talk about here is that housing only is not enough. It's not enough. Because people have real deal problems. This woman obviously has a problem with methamphetamines. That being said.
I still hold though. If you met enough people from Upper Michigan, you know what I'm saying? Like, OH baby, always taking shots.
I'm gonna send this to dude. I don't know where Burgess is right now, but I am gonna send this to Ben Burgess and be like, "What is your auntie doing out here in these streets talking reckless?"
1973.
I'm really mad at somebody said, "Oh, this woman is in Jason's age range."
Oh shit!
I was like, "That's a show veteran because that is
too
the
bad.
truth to that
No,
statement."
but that's Putin's pussy. You know what I'm saying?
I'm out of the running. Putin locked it down.
I don't know. You might need Wagner to come get that. Oh shit.
Okay. Deep breath.
Deep breath.
There's no more calls, right?
No.
There's no more super chats.
We did it. I don't know how many calls we had for the day, but this is, to San's point, this is the most calls we've had. Last night, I laughed until I cried with people talking about just everything, but mostly the movie Pump Up the Volume, which was a lot of fun to watch with you guys. Thank you, Jeremy, for making that happen. Jeremy doesn't get enough love. Jeremy makes all the movie nights happen. And again, thank you guys for all the super chats. Thank you guys that are watching the show, that are going to listen to it on the audio only. Do us a favor. Share this with your friends. Be like, look, there's these people that do a show, and sometimes they're smart, but when they're not, it's really entertaining.
When they go off the rails, they really go off the rails.
This guy makes such a left turn to Crazy Town that there's no way to corral him.
I like how our interviews are always serious, and then it's just like we already have all the answers by now, and it's just Crazy Town. It's just Crazy Town.
Like understand, as I will turn this computer off, I then have to finish the piece I'm writing, the script for the video essay, and then the only fun thing I'm doing, which is kind of fun, is this thing Ben and I are doing. I have to cut the clips up for the trailer for that. It's like we're kind of immersed in seriousness.
Mm-hmm.
As Marcus will attest to, who called me out on this a while back, you have to do a lot of reading to be on the show.
Absolutely.
And it ain't the newspaper.
No.
Oh God.
You'll be lucky if it's the newspaper.
No.
So
which is fucked up, is because you sent me show notes for this show that was completely for a different show. I read through the whole thing and I'm like, this motherfucker set me up. I agreed to it. This is a totally different show. And then as soon as you click up, it's like, oh, this is the show we actually talk about. He made me read for nothing.
I saw it.
It's fucked up.
Can you agree with the pros of those notes were informative, Marcus?
It informed me to your treachery. Is that what you wanted? All right. Because I was like, motherfucker he told me this is a different shit, you know? It's like, because like the thing too is like, talk about hip hop and talk about George Floyd. Those are two very different mornings.
That's true.
Those are two very different mornings.
Let me
And
see
I
what
woke
that
up
is.
like, hell yeah, we're gonna talk about hip hop. I click on the thing, I'm like, what?
Oh, I saw that too. I was like,
We're gonna talk about George Floyd? I thought we were talking about hip hop. What the fuck? You know, it's like,
yeah.
But thank God. All right. So I appreciate it. Thanks for fucking with me, Jason. It was good to be back. You know, whatever.
Threw me for a loop.
It's not okay.
This
I
is
got
what,
him
you
late.
know what- Look, if you ever saw me do like a show where I like fucked with people, that would not be me selling out. That would be me living my best life.
Yeah. Like a Jason prank show, but it's like with academics you've never heard of. it's like a punked, but it's like some dude walking out of a class at like Missouri State, you know, getting like goop poured on him, and he's like,
You know what Kuba used to do? Which I think is the coolest thing ever. Kuba was so smart in high school that he used to make up wars that never happened.
God damn.
And make his oral presentation. And he would get A's.
Oh my God. Hell yeah, dog. Hell yeah.
Oh,
there's a lot of wars though, you know? To be fair to the teacher.
It's true.
The human beings are a war-loving animal, you know? There's a lot there.
Is
But
so
that's awesome.
Like there's funny, and then to me there's like, oh, that guy's good.
Yeah.
Kuba is one of the funniest people I know.
Because when you get that intersection between highly intelligent, funny, and bored.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
That's where the magic is made.
God, yes. Yes. Gene is a similar way. Yes, we are blessed to have you guys as part of the crew. The fact that we can make so many jokes with Bertram last night after he wrote this piece where he's exposing the tragedy of his life, and we just teased him for being poor. He goes, I grew up eating stuffing mix.
Oh, you brokey.
Don't get mad at us because your mama only wanted to eat sides, nigga.
Jason talking about Bertrand had flies around him.
Oh my God.
Wearing Kleenex boxes for sneakers.
Yeah, Kleenex boxes for shoes.
A whole assortment of instant sides.
Somebody says you got stuffing mix. Lucky.
For me, and that's where it's like stuffing was something that like I'd never seen before until I gotten some white people Thanksgiving. Like I might have been like in my like 19 or 20, and I had stuffing for the first time. I'm like, oh my God, like this is awesome. It's so good.
Marcus is like a free slave.
I was like, is this what white people been eating?
That Marcus? He's like, oh ma'am, oh this is delicious.
I was like, is this bread? This is bread.
Lord of mercy.
Oh my God! But stuffing's good as shit. I like stuffing.
We call it dressing. What do you call it, Toussaint? In your
Dressing.
Haitian household?
Just stuffing, but we don't usually use it.
It's not Haitian?
Not really.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like these immigrant ass parents depriving their children of the American dream.
Yeah. We had stuffing before. There was some weird spice in there that
I
I
just have a
wasn't into.
Lunchable. Bumbleclad Lunchable, boy.
You're gonna have a beef patty.
Although, oh man, now I miss. I'm actually excited. Now you got me thinking about it. I'm excited to go home because like my mom has got like there's like a whole freezer full of beef patties that I'm going to destroy when I get back. Oh my
Tower
God.
Aisle.
The motherfucking golden crust, baby. I'm gonna get a golden crust. I'm gonna get a golden crust tattoo across my chest. This shit is actually you that's when I sold out. All right. When you hear me, he goes, "Bring up above the garden, rude boy," you know, and just doing a fucking
Marcus doing his show constantly doing finger guns. The bloody boy down there, boy, the Democrats, boy, booyaka, booyaka. That's how you know.
Yeah,
Marcus
that's when you
came
know.
back from seeing his family.
Yeah, when you hear me walking out to some fucking steel drums, like I got that bag, baby. I got that bag.
But unlike a real Jamaican, he's just Michael from The Office coming back from Sandals. Hot, hot, hot.
Like for some reason, my dreads are braided into that bullshit white people vacation braids. You know, I'm just doing it all. I got the beads at the end.
The Bo Derek.
You know what, dude? They do that here. They do that here, and they walk up and down the boulevard, and they ask people, "Oh, you want to braid your hair?" And I just sit there and look. I'm like, "Are you going to be the one?
Yeah.
Are you going to be the one? Because I'm going to record it."
Come on, Becky. And she's like, and like Becky's gonna squirm the whole time.
It
hurts. You're pulling it out.
Ow. The vocal fry. Ow.
Look, the vocal fry. You are so sweet. I'm so mad at you. God. So black. Thank you guys again for hanging out with us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it. I'm an influencer and a model. I'm also a DJ. Marcus just left. He just leave?
Marcus is hurled over.
He's just like, I can't
with these people anymore.
Oh my god, I can't with them anymore. I just can't with you.
Marcus left his body.
Marcus said my internet just cut out. Nigga, it looks like Thanos got your ass.
I thought Marcus left his body. He's thinking about beef patties.
He just someone says didn't realize drunk at brunch Jason was a thing until now. Oh my god, guys, my internet's down.
Okay, when that happens.
Oh my goodness. I'm such a Marxist.
Strikes the groove.
Are you an ML? Goodness. Are you an ANCOM?
My ex was an ANCOM.
He thought he was so much better than me.
You're so ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
This is music that I made. Thank you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Eli. For supplying me with the synthesizer that allowed me to do this. Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for keeping me so centered.
Yeah.
I appreciate the crystals you gave me.
You have
and
to.
You went on the positivity retreat. I really appreciate that.
The crystals in the moonlight.
Kushlik says too many people shitting in houses and on each other. Don't shit in anyone's house.
Don't do it. And don't let your dog do it.
Apparently that woman.
Don't let Caitlin do it either.
And fuck Caitlin.
And her dog.
Can we get that hashtag started? Fuck Caitlin. Are we big enough to do that? And have no one know what we're talking about?
That's right. Caitlin deserves it.
Thank you guys. I love y'all. Oh, he's back. Wait a minute. He's got to say goodbye one time.
Hey, I was like, God damn, y'all still up? Hey, bye, everybody. Goodbye. We were fucking around too much. YouTube said we're not demonetizing it. We are de-interneting Marcus. We cut it off.
No more.
We cut it off.
Hey,
but thank y'all.
Schmegley, fuck Caitlin is the hashtag. Anything you do from now on, end it with fuck Caitlin. You want to send a tweet out and shit on your favorite podcaster? Fuck Caitlin. You want to shit on me? I don't care if you talk about my mama. Just make sure you hashtag fuck Caitlin.
Fuck Caitlin. Shut it down.
I'm spelling Caitlin with a K because you know why.
Because we are demolishing his house. Yes.
That's right.
Fuck Caitlin.
The Armenians are down.
You hear that synth line, Marcus? Can you just admit
when you say
my
like
synth skills are fucking on point?
I always said synth line. I was like, I didn't really know what that meant. But
you're killing me. You're killing
He
me.
looks happy. He looks happy.
You're killing me. Thank you guys. We are